Se puede venir aquí o fuera, ¿ok? Hay que elegir entre los dos, ¿ok? Porque vamos a tener un panel y hay que dar oportunidad a la gente. Son nuestros invitados y hay que ser invitado. Entonces, hay que fuera o dentro, ¿ok? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know where I'm going this. 7, 8, 9. Ok, bueno, hemos mejorado un poquito, por lo menos. Ok, nada, ok. How was that, Susie? That was good. Okay, working. Yeah. I mean, if I had any more weapons, I'd use them. But okay. Okay, thank you very much for that, guys. That was super. Okay. There's still some people who are determined to resist the power of my voice. I know who you are, and I have the evil stare. The evil stare? I'll give you all a bad grade. How about that? No, that doesn't work. Okay, brilliant. Okay, sorry to be a bit of a hard ass, but, you know, I secretly enjoy it. Anyway, okay, we continue with the program, and I'm actually going to do absolutely nothing other than to hand you over to the capable hands. Pablo, test if your microphone is working. Let off the phone for like 5 minutes in your life, okay? Okay, brilliant. Okay, is your microphone working? Hello. Without a microphone, your powers are, you know, limited.
Hello.
Yeah, brilliant.
Perfect.
Okay, Susie, what have you got for me? Say something nice.
Hi.
Say, hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Brilliant. Okay, and Javier, what have you got?
Almuerzo.
Okay. Well, you're Javier for the next 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, right. Thank you very much, people, for staying, and sorry once again to be a bit of a hard ass. Okay, adelante, Pablo.
Hello all. I am Pablo Pedrejón, principal at CEIA Ventures. CEIA is a venture capital firm based in Madrid that invests in Spain and in Latin America. I'm in charge of investing across Latin America in Series A rounds. And I'm going to hand it over to you so you can introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Susana Espinosa. I'm part of the investment team at Angel Ventures. We're a regional venture capital fund investing in the Pacific Alliance region. So we have our headquarters here in Mexico and have offices in Bogotá, Lima, and Guadalajara, looking to expand and develop the entrepreneurial ecosystem throughout the region.
Hi, my name is Javier Benavides. I'm partner of BBC Capital, BBCS Capital, and Angel Investment Ring in Lima. We are also, together with Angel Ventures, founders of Ángeles AP, which is a regional angel investment, I can say summit or partnership that allows for co-investing.
Great. Thank you all for being here at such a time. We're going to make it very interesting for you guys. So seeing the talent that we have here with an experience investing in Latin America, we're going to focus more in Latin America in this panel. And the first question I wanted to ask is, how do you see the funding ecosystem in the region? What are the strengths and the challenges that you see?
Strength that we see is that investing throughout the region gives some certainty to investors, mainly our limited partners. They see that we are diversifying the risk and not only investing in one country. Say when we only invested in Mexico, even though we made large investments, we are a small country in comparison to Asian, European, US size of investments. So now that we are investing on a region, it's much more attractive for larger investment, development banks, multilateral funds, sovereign funds to invest on us. But the other side, we do have challenges because it's an area where the ecosystem is much less developed. It's more risk. It's starting some ways, and that gives some uncertainty to other investors. But overall, I see a positive ecosystem growing.
And on the other side, among our countries, we have more similarities than differences in terms of markets and in industries. So there's some common ground for investors to look for America-wide startups. And that's good news. And that's why we shall pushing our startups out of the home country and think of America, think of the Pacific Alliance as a very, very good foot to set on.
Regarding the challenges as entrepreneurs, because you've invested in entrepreneurs that have founded and expanded their company into several countries, what are the top 1 or 2 challenges they always have when they need to manage different countries?
I would say that some challenges is that they don't realize, even though countries are very similar, markets are similar, they are different. So they think that opening operations in Bogota, it's the same that instead of operating operations in Monterrey, they go directly to Bogota. We enforce that, but you have to be sure that Bogota is the right place for this. Just giving it as an example. So they sometimes see, even though there's all that commercial agreements and helping this grow, you do have to be ready to open operations in another country. It's completely different. You have to have a local team, understand the market locally in order to grow.
Okay. Yeah, and just going a little bit further, we need to, as well as we have common markets, common industries, we have to go further and understand each other. Mexico itself, as a city, has 3 different cultures, perhaps 3 different ethics, depending on the place you are. So the same happens with Lima, with Bogota, and the issue is that here is that we are here to learn and to put in the evidence there to build successful startups, successful businesses.
Great. Recently, most governments like to speak a lot about startups, about entrepreneurship, about innovation, and you can see across the region a wide variety of policies that they have been executing, no, and investing in. Which policies do you believe makes the most sense for LATAM? You know, we've seen startup boot camps like Startup Chile, or we've seen, you know, they invest in education, they do fund of funds. I would like to understand a bit more about your perspectives on that.
In Mexico, I think we are kind of developed in that area, and I would focus my answer in like 2 parts. The first are the help that institutions as INADEM, that's the Mexican help for entrepreneurs, give to really early stage startups. We see many good startups that are in such an early stage that they cannot even raise capital from an angel investor. And they don't have friends and family to support them growing their startup on a very early stage. And they need access to grants. In the US, there are many grants in any area, science, fintech, medical devices. And in Mexico, that didn't exist that much from corporates or from large NGOs. So INADEM offered this grant service called as Créditos Deuda Perdida, which basically it's a grant that helps startups in a very early stage grow and start to realize if their startup has a market potential. On the other side, I would say that what really helps this grow exponentially is the creation of funds of funds. In Mexico, I would say 90% of the large, or 100% of the largest VC funds that are in Mexico, one of our LPs is Mexico Ventures. That's the Fondo de Fondos created by the Mexican Development Bank, that's Nacional Financiera, and that really helps you. They have large tickets, they invest from venture capital to infrastructure, and they help you grow easier and develop in the area. So I would say this helps, and we see that this also helps in Bogota. We also have as a limited partner the Colombian Development Bank, that's called Bancoldex. Has a different structure, but overall they're creating this fund of funds part. So I think in both areas are kind of extreme, but they do help create this ecosystem.
Yeah, in Peru it's quite a different story. We are the younger brothers in terms of startup ecosystem building. Just to say, we started a national program for fostering startups in 2014. That's only 4 years ago. And so we're still learning, and our hope is to learn from every other ecosystem that began earlier and to leapfrog. And we are still doing so. So we're not talking yet of fund of funds because we don't have enough funds yet. But there's one in the planning. It's already set, but we have to launch it in terms of making kind of a great wallpaper for opportunities among corporations and companies and startups. That's something that's on the build as well. So we are on a work in progress as of now.
I would like to chip in, even though I'm the moderator. I used to be an entrepreneur in Mexico. My company was Pepsi, which I sold this year before I entered the dark side of investment. And I think that one of the policies that the region has to follow is education. I think that there's still a big lack of education in terms of technical talent, but not only technical talent, which is, everybody mentions that. I also think there's a wide variety of talent that startups need, and there really isn't any market for that, no? And I think there's a big opportunity there for the governments to actually invest in that, no? So now for a very more complicated question. So recently there have been some major political changes in the region, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, and there have been effects in the markets. I mean, it's clear. I think that as funds, we might have seen it with our LPs, etc. How do you see this challenge going forward? There are opportunities and the challenges.
Well, I think the opportunities are based on what these changes in government can help and focus on. So I think fintech, banking, all those type of startups can grow with the new ideas the government has. Of course, it gives some uncertainty for limited partners. That's why in some way, and we're focused on not only investing in Mexico, because Mexico is uncertain, we're in the uncertainty week. But when we tell our LPs that we're investing throughout Latin America, we're telling them that we're looking for startups that can operate in Mexico, in Colombia, in Peru, and that if anything happens in one of these countries, the startup won't die. They'll be operating in other countries that will help them continue to grow. Probably that growth can be a little bit slower, but overall they will continue to grow until that market starts to be larger. We have one example. We have an Argentinian company. We invested in our first fund that's continuously growing on Argentina and didn't have that much focus on Mexico. And on the past months, they have to focus their operations to Mexico. They're continue growing Argentinian operations, but with exchange rate, basically their revenues cannot increase in any way. So they're focusing on Mexico, and we have both sides of the money. We can continue growing on Argentina and focus on that market, and all the lessons learned from that country are applied to Mexico, and they're now operating here, and they're growing their B2B part of the model in Mexico City. So I think it's a good opportunity, and well, telling your LPs that you are making regional investment or global investment with a focus on Latin America gives them the uncertainty that only changing one government can be riskier.
Yeah, and in Peru it's a little bit funny because we do make a huge difference between politics and policy. And just as an example, we last year in Peru we have our president ousted, impeached. So and the vice president took office, but policy didn't change. So it was just business as usual. Okay, oh, your president was ousted. It's a political crisis in Peru. Yeah, perhaps there's a political crisis, but policy does not change. The economy does not change. The hunger to innovate, to thrive, is still there. So we just have a good grip on that and make it work.
As a European fund, a Spanish fund that invests in Latin America, in Seaya, we are aware of the changes. However, we still feel that there are great opportunities in the region. There's great talent and great startups coming. What we do feel is that in this new scenario, we should, we always wanted to partner with local funds, but now in this new stage, we think it's going to be even more important, to have local partners that can help us navigate the different regions. So I think, yeah, we're aligned with that, and hopefully this new phase is going to be good for everybody, I want to speak also about Brazil. LATAM depends where you're from, but people consider Brazil part of LATAM or not. No, it's always the eternal question. I was doing some research the other day, and over 75% of all funds raised this year have been in Brazil. 6 out of 7 unicorns in Latin America are from Brazil, except the one exception is Rappi, which is from Colombia. How in your strategies, when you think about LATAM, how do you include Brazil? Do you include it at all?
So in our case, when we started looking for being the official Pacific Alliance fund, we knew that this fund needed to be focused on the exit strategy of the companies.
Okay.
So what happened, and probably you know it with Pepsi, is that even though you are the leader in Mexico, you're not large enough for the largest e-commerce or competitor in China and US to buy you. And the strategic are offering exits, but they're not as large as they could be if you was probably being operating in Brazil. And what we focus, and we have several companies, all of the funds in our portfolios in that stage. So what the investment thesis of the second fund, that's the Pacific Alliance Fund, is that together the 4 countries, which are Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and Peru, are in macroeconomics terms, they are the size of Brazil. So approximately they're the same population size. We have the same size of GDP almost as Brazil together, of course. And Mexico is the largest of these countries. So we're looking to make investments in the 4 countries to have startups that are leaders on all these 4 countries in order to be able to compete with Brazilian startups, or for companies to raise capital from a large US or Asian fund. And now that they start looking to LATAM, not only to Brazil, but to the Pacific Alliance. So we're not investing in Brazil. We could invest in a Brazilian company that's looking to expand through the Pacific Alliance, but only a Brazilian company. We're not focused on it. We consider it's a completely different world. We see much more Spanish companies coming to Mexico and raising capital here, easier than us investing in a startup in Brazil, just of language, culture. We do see it as outside of LATAM, in our case.
Yeah, we share completely that view from Saya, no? Although Brazil is part of our strategy also going forward.
Yeah, and it's not only an issue of language or culture. I see Brazil coming as part of Latin America as just for investing and going into our startup or common startup ecosystem in the next few years. But nowadays, they're focusing more in China and in India. And it's very funny because they see themselves as dwarfs when they go to those countries. So it's easy for them now to comprehend that they have neighbors just around. We share a 3,000-kilometer frontier with Brazil. And to share views, to share markets, and just to go abroad Brazil. Because actually 3 years ago, startups in Brazil focused only in Brazil. Now they're trying to focus elsewhere. And there's opportunity for all of us.
In the recent year, a bit more, I was discussing the unicorns. No? There has been a unicorn effect. No? And we don't even need to go to unicorns. I mean, there have been great exits such as Corner Shop in Mexico. In your experience speaking with entrepreneurs, with the ecosystem, what effects have you seen? What concrete examples have you seen of how this has affected, people taking more risk, entrepreneurs taking the jump and actually launching their businesses just by, this example that's everywhere of these very successful companies that LATAM wasn't really used to before, no?
So what I would say we're seeing much often is startups raising larger capital investment rounds. A couple of years ago, we see a lot of entrepreneurs raising a 5K round or a 1 million as something very large because they only needed capital for 12 months and they would be raising again and constantly raising capital. Now we're seeing companies raising 5 million, 8 million, 7 million on earlier stages because they realized that what Corner Shop, Clip, Quesky did, raising larger rounds on the beginning, gave them the opportunity to be these large startups on the ecosystem. So we see that, and of course we see that's a great impact for funds to continue raising capital. When they see our first funds, I would see the fund that we're investing in Corner Shop, our first fund from Angel Ventures, they're just starting their disinvestment stage. So we see that as entrepreneurs see that we do have like success cases, they're launching themselves to raise more capital in an earlier stage for them to grow faster and spend much more capital. Before they were a bit more afraid of having a very high burn rate because what will your investors say? Now they say, this is my burn rate and this is the only way I will grow exponentially. And us as investors are ready to see that. Also, it's because funds are getting larger. A couple of years ago, well, all the funds, when you raise capital from all VP, all those funds were smaller. They couldn't get into a 10 million round.
When I raised funds in 2013, it was around $1 million, and it was like amazing, no, in Mexico. And now you see companies raising much more money, no, I mean, bigger rounds. And I think that's great because we need to compete with big players, no?
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, in our case, we are not doing investments lower than $1 million. And a couple of years ago, that was a large investment.
Exactly.
So that's what we see growing, especially in Mexico and Colombia. I'm not sure in Peru.
No, actually, in Peru, we don't have any unicorns. And in my personal point of view, we shouldn't care about it. Because we should help companies to go past the barrier of, say, 100 million, perhaps, and leave them. Because most of the companies that go for the unicorn mark are just raising capital outside our countries, not in America, perhaps not specifically in Spain. So they're looking for other markets. They want to be based somewhere else. So if we want to teach our entrepreneurs to dream of being unicorns, perhaps we're not sending the right message. In the United States, you have for every 1,000 startups that go funded, only one becomes a unicorn. So let's start not dreaming so long and just getting used to doing our work for getting stronger companies.
Although I agree with you in part, I also think that dreaming big makes sense, no? Like, imaginemos cosas chingones, no? So it's all, I think there's a good side on both aspects, and the fact that entrepreneurs in LATAM are being very ambitious is also going to be very good for the ecosystem. And raising capital from abroad, yes, I mean, it might have the downsides, but you're also bringing a lot of capital into the region, no? So,
no, I would say, just adding to your answer, it has very little downsides compared to the upsides it gets. There's no way this can grow exponentially without large companies raising capital abroad from the US or Asia.
Okay. So we have 40 seconds left. What is the top one trend that you are looking at now?
FinTech and PropTech. PropTech is real estate, property tech. It's a new word for some. You?
The whole value chain of food does value. Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking.
You, Saya?
FinTech, mobility, deliveries. It's just, there's a lot, no?
It's a lot.
There's a lot.
But I had to answer in one.
Yeah, you had to answer one.
That's why I
agree.
said that.
Thank you, everybody, so much for your time. It's been great. Great to meet you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The outstanding job. So it's not a jury or anything like that. So thank you very much, and you're free to go. You know, vaya con Dios, or whatever they say in these parts of the world. And Susie, PropTech, I'll load all my money into PropTech. Okay, if that's the future, brilliant. Okay. Okay, so the next group that are ready to go is Successful Partnerships, How Corporates and VC Co-Invest Together. So as before, I'd ask anyone who's over there to take their seats, who want to sort of sit. And Pilar, if you want to come forward and sit down. And Alejandro and Jay and Rina, if you want to all come forward and sit down and we get ready. So we got... you can sit anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Okay. We can be like ABBA if you want to be, or something. You know, that's a sort of like two girls in the middle and two guys in the side.
Oh.
You know,
That's good.
that's the ABBA formation. You never heard that before? Like, God, you guys.
I should know it.
This is conference organizers get together. They talk
Everyone's
about.
got to move together. You guys
Okay.
can you guys all
So
move?
yeah. So like these are the people who are like, if it's interesting, we'll stay. If it's not, we'll go.
They're
You know,
outta here.
these
I
kind of
think
people on the
it's
side.
near
you know.
the food. That's
Yeah.
why they are there.
Ah,
It's near the food.
smart.
Okay. Anyway, we got loads of lovely food here. Okay, so I don't really have anything further to say. So we just need to test the microphones. So Alex, speak into the microphone.
Hello, hola, hola. ¿Me oyen?
Okay, is that didn't really be great? Oh, look, you have an admirer in the audience. Okay, there you go. Speak again.
Hola, ¿me escuchan?
Okay,
¿Sí?
that's what we're looking
Bien.
for. Okay, Pilar, what have you
Hello?
got?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Rita?
I will talk in Hebrew.
Okay, shalom.
Shalom.
Hebrew, brilliant. I'll talk back to you in Irish, and then
Oh,
what happens?
that will
Okay,
talk.
okay.
It will be great.
Fantastic. Okay, Jay, speak into your
Sounds
microphone.
good.
Okay, and how's your throat? Because you were just on stage like half an hour ago. So if you
Okay.
need water, there's like
We can
water
share
here.
that
So-
one.
Okay, well, it's like times
Yeah.
are tough, whatever. Okay, and there's one note to your program, which is that Omar isn't here. So those of you that came for Omar, sorry for that, but he's not here. So that's really it. So I'll hand you over to Pilar Adelante. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for everyone. Come on, guys, come on. For God's sake, if I can be enthusiastic, then we can all be enthusiastic, Pilar Adelante.
Thank you. So I would like everyone to introduce themselves, give us a brief description, and
Sounds
Jay,
like you want me to start.
Yes, it was.
We'll go that way. Sure. So I'm Jay Reineman. I live in San Francisco in California. I'm an early stage investor. I'm one of the partners in a fund called Propel Venture Partners. We're an early stage fund, and to define that means we're investing in primarily Series A. We've done some seed and some Series B. We invest primarily in the U.S., LATAM, and Europe. We've got about 34 companies in our portfolio. We've only got one right now in Mexico, one in Brazil. Shortly, we should have another 1 to 2 in Mexico. I come from a financial services background for my entire career, and that's the area that our fund focuses on.
Okay, Rina.
Oh, my name is Rina Feinstein. I'm from Israel. I have a company, Noga Plus, that what we do is we connect Israeli technologies with Latin American markets. And in this frame, we work also with startups, we work with corporates, and we work with capital ventures. So we have like a platform where we connect all of them, all these kinds of groups, and also connect territories, Latin America and Israel.
Alejandro.
Hello. Thanks for hosting this, Pilar. For moderating. I have two hats. One is I do M&A, investment banking, and on the other one, I'm part of a group of investors in a small fund, an angel fund called Soldiers Field Angels. And in other part of the country or the world, it would be more like an investor club, where we're structured as a fund. So the second fund we've launched. Most of the partners have their own job, and then we just do this on the side, and then we have some staff that is specialized in maintaining the fund.
Investing in which geographies?
We invest only, our main investor is the Mexican government, and so we can only invest in Mexico.
Okay.
And we invest across industries, but I would say that tech, fintech, we've done a couple of agricultural things. So it varies, but those are the key industries.
I'm pretty sure you guys are going to have different points of view on a couple of things
Hope
we're
so.
going to touch right now. So I'm Pilar Zambrano. I'm from Jaguar Ventures, and thank you everyone for being here. And I would like to start with Jay telling us a little bit about how corporates are getting involved in the startup world and why are they getting involved.
I didn't really give most of my background, but I spent the majority of my career in larger corporations. I've been with a couple of big banks. I worked for Visa for 12 years, Anderson Consulting. And the common theme amongst all those companies, they're primarily struggling with being technology companies. I mean, they have technology, it's important to their business, But when I look at the startups we're investing in, the engineers, the product people, the marketing people are heads and shoulders way above the large corporations. So in all these large corporations, they're all trying to figure out their digital transformation. And some are doing a good job, some are struggling. And I think all of them are trying to get some inspiration right now from the startup world, either through investment, through partnerships, or just simply by almost trying to ironically copying the startups because from my perspective, sometimes the startups understand the customer problem better. And so we've seen lots of innovation groups being created. I've personally been part of a couple of those. I've been part of corporate venture capital funds where they use the funds to try to get closer to startups. We haven't used it for M&A, but I think all the big companies are trying to figure out their path. And some are doing a pretty good job, but I think it's like, and you can see some of the names on here. Even IE, it's interesting that IE is a big company, and why are they doing this? Joe, you're to tell us.
Okay, and Alejandro, do you think it's gonna be the same as it is right now, or in 10 years?
So
what do you see?
Speaking for the Mexican landscape, and to be very transparent, the amount of corporates doing VC-like investment is amazingly limited. Okay, so I would say that the very large corporates have some sort of branch that is looking into this, and I can name a few. CDMX has a venture branch. Arca has something similar. Telefonica, Bimbo, and maybe there are 10 or 15 large corporates that are doing this, and then other large corporates are not doing it, and it may be I know it all kind of mentality, or I'm not interested in that market yet. And then you have a huge gap of maybe the owners of the companies are doing some things, and that's where we come into play as Soldiers Field Angels, because we have a bunch of CEOs of companies that are actually investing money with us, and co-investing with the fund, and also they see this as a link to technology. And then there's this huge gap, and nobody's doing anything. So I would certainly hope that in the next 10 years, there'll be that gap will be bridged, and there'll be more corporates doing actual venture work, and also there'll be more groups like ours. I mean, you come in from San Francisco, and you've probably seen 15 or 20 groups of angels that are very well established, and they're actually sourcing deals. And in Mexico, I know maybe 3 or 4. Okay, so and San Francisco versus Mexico as a country, you have a huge difference. And hopefully that'll start to change with the years.
We also have a lot of corporations. Like all the big corporations are doing something related to the startup ecosystem.
And Rina, you've been working with both companies and VCs. What would you say about this, and how are you helping them work together?
Well, I just want to say how it works in Israel. In Israel, we have corporates, a lot of corporates, more than 325 corporates. That's the number I got last month. 300, and I'm talking about Apple and Visa and Intel and Netflix and whoever you want in the area of, not areas even, in technology in general or pharmaceutics. They are all in Israel. What they are looking for technologies. But they are working, and this is a very important point, I think, they are working very close with capital ventures. They are doing programs together. I don't know any big corporate venture that is not connected with the big venture capitals in Israel. So there is a very close relationship between them. They know how to work together. And this I think, is a difference here in Israel. I don't know how it's in the Silicon Valley or in the US, but in Mexico, I don't see it now. Maybe because what you said, there are not enough corporates looking for new technologies, and there are not enough venture capitals who are willing to risk investment. But this is very interesting how, as you said, in 10 years, I think that even before, as I see Mexico, in less than 10 years, there will be a huge connection between corporates and venture capitals.
And I don't know who wants to answer this, but what can we do to bring this gap, and how can we make these partnerships successful? What is?
Actually, I would rather see the corporates be good customers of the startups, or to be partners versus investing, really. I think that it's sometimes troublesome when corporations invest, and they're very oftentimes very fickle, where they're not in the business of being an investor. So they will invest in these companies, and then whoever the sponsor was of that investment, they're an incorporation. The guy might be gone the next year. So then this company that's really depending on their investors to continue to invest in them doesn't have a sponsor anymore. And sometimes there's a misalignment of interest where the corporation has alternative interests that not just about making this company financially successful. Mm-hmm. So I think there's really good corporations that are really good at investing, but a lot of them also haven't quite figured that out, how to make sure that they're maintaining their fiduciary responsibility once they do become a shareholder, in making sure that that's independent of the strategic needs of the company.
If I may add a quick point there, there has to be a mentality change in Mexico. And I'm going to give you an example. The World Economic Forum does a survey every year, and they ask, is selling a company a triumph or a failure? And in Mexico, it's still seen as a failure, okay? And to give you the majority, not 100%, but in the majority. And another interesting thing is that the people that have, the large corporates have a lot of money, and they mainly have one big shareholder. That big shareholder sees his money being worth more than the idea and the technology. And when he sees a valuation that is going to give this person 60% of the company, and he will only have 30 or 40, even though he's giving all the capital, he does not want in. This is changing with the new generations as people have studied abroad, and as people see how new industries exist because of venture capital. But there's still a mindset of, this is my money, and whoever has the money has the power.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that.
I also agree. I just want to make, you talk about the strategy, the corporate venture capital strategy. I have here the people from Bimbo, and I want to give an example of a venture corporate who invest in a strategy projects. They don't invest as a venture capital for the financial part of it. And this is a huge difference. When a corporate, a venture corporate is looking for investment, he won't go to something that has nothing to do with the company. And a venture capital, as you said, it's in different areas and can go and do investment and things that has, the only point and the important point has a financial, how many X do you want to do in 5 to 7 years? And this makes it a little bit difficult sometimes to work or to think together. What is a venture capital investment, and what is a corporate venture capital investment and a venture capital?
Well, I've seen, in Jaguar Ventures, we have an investment in a company. We co-invested with FEMSA. It's been working very good. But they just invested. It can be strategic, but what will you make different out of, do you think that will be successful? The company FEMSA just investing? Or what do you mean, strategic? Or?
I will give you an example. There is a startup from Israel that Bimbo is interested in that company. And this Israeli company, I just don't want to say names because we haven't closed any agreement, but this is a very disruptive company. And Bimbo knows that it's very disruptive. And if it could, I'll put it different. The capital venture is very interested in investing in that company, but is waiting for the Bimbo or the corporate venture capital to invest in it. So it's an example that they don't coordinate one with the other. The Bimbo has a strategy, and if this doesn't go with the strategy specific, or they are afraid that the market won't give them an answer, they won't invest. And the venture capital is waiting for the corporate to invest. It's like they don't talk one with the others.
And what could we do to work together? I don't know, or...
The startups and the big companies. I think even there's some really basic blocking and tackling that most big corporations, they just don't dance very well with small companies. Even things like the procurement departments have policies that make it impossible for the corporation to work with a small company because they're not capitalized well enough, or they haven't been in business enough years. And the length of time sometimes it takes to get through a procurement process, a lot of small companies could just die during that time period. So I think the big companies have to figure out how to make themselves more agile, even in those kind of things with their lawyers, their risk teams, and the procurement teams, the finance department, getting things paid on time. That they're probably not even thinking about that, the after effects.
Even accounting, many of these corporates, they don't know where they should place this in the balance sheet. You know, as you said, they see it more as a purchase, and not so much as an investment. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes internally they have difficulties. Or what's going to happen? We make an investment, and then who's going to oversee it, and how we're going to account for it?
Yes, and they're afraid of not having enough control. So what can we do as VCs to help also corporations be okay with investing, maybe not having all the control?
One suggestion is we need a couple of winners, and if we have an exit or somebody that invested in a company, then later on they ended up acquiring 100% of it because they like the technology or the solution so much, that will help others see that this is feasible, and that you have to be, if you want to bring relevant innovation into your company, you're very likely going to have to invest to get this innovation, but you have to have a couple of winners. And the same thing happens in Mexico overall. We have very few companies that have made it all the way through to IPO from startup. And so still the startup scene is seen as something very risky, and that the path might not lead to something successful. The recent corner shop acquisition by Walmart, that was something fantastic because it offers validation to the market. And I'm sure that Walmart would have loved to have invested in that company as a seed investor and not have to pay the $250 million that it paid at the end, you know? So we need more success stories. And success stories come from more capital. And it's been difficult to raise capital in Mexico, even though it's completely different in other parts of the world.
I think you said something else interesting about changing the mindset, and even about control when corporations think they're going to get this very small piece of the company for a big amount of money, and they just don't think that makes any sense. And from my perspective, like it's one of those things about trying to teach the corporation that making things more open by I always say, like, allowing your children to leave the house, they grow up and they get bigger and they mature. And it's the same thing with these startups. Like I think there's really important relationships that corporations can have with the startups, but they can't control them, because then they're going to just be a one-stop solution for one company when they really need to be providing a solution for an industry.
I also think that a process of starting from a pilot, a small pilot with the startup, and then getting to know each other, the corporate and the startup, it will be easier for the corporate to invest in it or to understand how to work with it. Because to do it's too much of a crash to start investing without doing a pilot or even, as you said, some accounting problems. Let's start what we know how to do, is to take him as a service for the first few months, and this will give some money to the startup so he can start.
And in Mexico, you've seen pilots work?
I have done, and sorry for saying that once again, these guys know how to do it.
Okay.
It's not easy, but there's a process, and I really believe in that, because the corporate has to get to know this. They can invest as a fund, as a venture capital, without working with them.
Okay.
And do any of you have a challenging case or a complicated case you can share and we can learn about? Like corporate investing in a startup and it was kind of complicated? No? A successful case?
I can tell you about a complicated negotiation that would have been fantastic for both parties. I cannot say the name, but the technology this company was providing was fantastic for this large financial institution. And the company we had a piece of, they did not want to have a right of first refusal clause. They wanted to be able to sell to whoever was the best bidder at a later stage, which made sense because you don't want to tie your hands necessarily to this one corporate. So the capital was there, the technology was there, the parties, they liked each other, and because of this specific clause, the deal did not go through. And the company ended up raising capital someplace else, and it would have been a fantastic partnership for both companies, and that's some sort that didn't happen because of a strict corporate governance from the investor.
And it's probably the culture that they have, that they're not willing to pay a little more,
Correct.
Right?
I think most of the success stories that I've heard usually rely or are based on the corporation being a customer of the startup. And I don't know if that's always the only value that can happen there. I mean, it's certainly the most tangible one if corporations are looking for strategic value out of their investments or these partnerships. That seems to be the thing everyone looks at. But I think there's a lot of knowledge transfer that can happen that's not necessarily just about the startup getting paid by the startup. Sorry, the other way around.
Instead of getting paid by the corporate, yes.
I can give an example of on the financial area. In Israel, we have Barclays Bank and we have Citibank, that they are very, very active in Israel, and they have their R&D centers, and you know them?
Yeah.
Okay. So what they do in order to get the startups to get inside, they invite them to participate in the core business. They have their teams coming to Israel and asking for different challenges. And this is what they start with. And this has been very successful stories, because I know at least 3 startups that were bought by 2 by Barclays and 1 by Citibank, that because of this relationship that they got and they solved internal problems, that's the way that it was a win-win for both.
So I don't know if anyone has a question, and if you do, please tell me to which of our 3.
Oh.
Sorry, just for the purposes of the camera, could you repeat your question? Thanks.
Sure. I think in Mexico, to Alex's point, you see local firms trying to create bonds with startups, but you don't necessarily see foreign national, like Apple, as is the case of Israel, trying to enter the Latin American market through partnerships or investments. Do you see that being the case in Mexico specifically, in Latin America, and is this differently to the Asian market?
I personally think that the key word is the ecosystem. Mexico is very different what was 5 years ago. But for this corporate, it's not enough today, because an ecosystem is also the high-level technology, is also the investments, is also the corporates being also ready, the lawyers, the accounting, everything that is around has to be ready. And I think that this is the key point. The ecosystem, and another small that we also talk about, is a little bit about the mindset. The mindset of not failing and not being collaborated sometimes is an issue that is changing, I think, but it has more to be done.
I don't know.
To add to your point, I think Mexico has done a good job in positioning itself as a commercial innovator and not so much as a technical or technological innovator. And so we're still seen from the outside as somebody that can deliver, but not necessarily that can code. And so as companies evolve, as more programmers don't leave the country and stay here in Mexico, I think that mindset could change. But other countries like Israel are way ahead of us in terms of technological innovation.
I don't know if you would like to share any conclusions.
You want to have a huddle, I can hug or anything?
Sorry about that.
No. I think I hope that towards the future more corporates will look into this market. I think there's a lot of job to be done on your side. There is a business summit, el Consejo Mexicano de Negocios, and if you're working with Bimbo, who already sits in that council, it'll be interesting if you can share your experience with the other, because I think it's like 50 businessmen, and they pretty much control the economy on the private side.
Is there anything we can learn from the U.S. that we can apply?
I guess recommendations for any of the corporations out there. It sounds like Bimbo's doing a good job, so congrats. But others be thoughtful about the different perspectives when you're a very large corporation versus a startup. Just you're not necessarily moving at the same pace, and being adaptable to the needs is going to make a better partnership.
Rina?
What I think I have seen here in Mexico, and even more than other countries in Latin America, is a great creativity. This country I have seen and heard ideas, incredible ideas. So I think the most important, and you people, the people who are here, is that have to help and think about how the ecosystem can help those ideas to be technical, more high-level technical, and commercialize them, and think worldwide. Mexico is huge, and sometimes you think, okay, it's enough to have my business here in Mexico. But Mexico is Latin America, and then Latin America is the States, and Europe and Asia. So it's from the day one, to think in large, to think and continue to be creative. This is amazing.
No, and I think that as VCs, we're also very open to having big corporates getting into and investing into the companies. We're also co-investing together. If they're open, if we have enough communication to do and prioritize the startup and the founders, and they're able to grow. And that's, I don't know, my conclusion and a perspective as a VC. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, microphone. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. I should say something apart from thank you very much, shouldn't I? But nothing comes to mind. Okay, so can you bring on the next panel there? Shoving them out. They all start chatting to themselves, and then you kind of go, no, you have to go on stage. And they're like, do it. Come on, Wilbur. Come on. You're supposed to lead them. And Diego, sit anywhere where you like. It's probably best to sit on the edge, because otherwise you have to go two ways. It's like tennis, you know? Yeah. Experienced guys. It's like the umpire. Okay, where are the rest of them? Come on, Ian. Okay, guys, come on. God. If it was a term sheet, you'd be able to run fast enough, wouldn't it? Okay. Okay, so who are we missing? You can sit anywhere where you like. And I think we have everyone. We even have water for you. And there's fruit. Okay, so this is the last of the midday panels before in the afternoon we're back to more startups. So on that basis, it's the last panel. So I'll actually get to have a sandwich while you guys are talking. So I'm really looking forward to that. Can I just say to the people talking over by the bar, could you go outside? Yes, I'm talking to you. Because you probably don't know what it's like over here, but it's a bit messy. So if you're having a big, deep conversation, can you go outside? They're not really listening to me, are they? No, they're not? What do I do? If I jump up and down or something, attract their attention? If I could ask you guys to go outside, because, we can't hear you and that kind of stuff. So get your drink and then go outside. That'd be absolutely super, super duper. Brilliant. Okay. Right, so I'm not going to take any more of your time. Just test the microphones work. Wilbur, speak to microphone.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Ian?
Yeah. Hola.
Oh, that didn't work.
Hola, hola.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah.
Hello, hello. Hi. Hello.
Yeah?
Now? 1, 2, 3. No, not working.
Just keep talking. Keep talking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nothing.
A, B, C, D, E.
Nothing.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. No, nothing?
No, nothing.
We can't go any. We have to have your microphone working.
All right.
Okay, keep talking.
1, 2, 3.
There
oh,
you go.
Hello.
Perfect. Okay, less dramatic.
Hi. Hi. No, it's not working.
No, I don't think so. No.
No.
Is it?
Hello, hello.
It is
hello,
working.
hello.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah, yeah. You got to turn it up. Diego, what have you
Hello.
got?
Okay.
Right, first time. Stick with the pros. Okay, that's me out of here to get my sandwich. Wilbur, the stage is all yours.
Thank you.
Okay. Round of applause for people. Come on, everyone. Come on. Give them something to kind of get excited about. If you encourage people, they respond, you know.
Well, hello everyone. I hope you're having a great time here. This is a great panel. We have a lot of investors here with a bunch of experience. So I hope you really like what you're going to listen right now. Let me first introduce them to you. I will just let them introduce themselves. I researched them and talked to you guys a little bit. So I know you have a lot of experience, but I'm pretty sure the public don't know who are they here today with you. So can you please introduce yourself? We can start with you, Diego.
I'm Diego Cerebrisky, co-founder and managing partner of Dalus Capital. We are a venture capital fund based in Mexico that invests in Series A, Series B companies in Mexico and Latin America.
Hi, I'm Luis Castañeda. I'm managing the Latin American fund of Axon. We're a venture capital investing something from $3 to $6 million per ticket, and mainly in Colombia, but also in other Latin American countries.
Hi, everyone. My name is Victor Noguera. I'm a venture advisor at Quona Capital. We're a VC fund based out of Washington, D.C. We invest in fintech for inclusion, so fintech with a financial inclusion angle. We're a global fund. We invest in Latin America, in Africa, and then Asia as well.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Hernan Fernandez. I'm a managing partner for Angel Ventures Mexico. We currently run our second fund, which is the fund for the Pacific Alliance. So we're looking to make cross-country investments between Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and Peru that are able to complement each other and create like regional champions.
Hello, my name is Ian Noel. I've been in venture capital for over 15 years. Most of the time investing in early stage startups based in Spain, but I've been based in Latin America for a while. I did some angeling, I did some first steps towards launching a VC. And now, before this, I started a 50 million euro venture capital in Spain called K-Fund, and left in June to start a new project focused to helping entrepreneurs execute.
All right, so my name is Wilber Palenque, and I'm the principal at Avalanche Ventures. It's also a VC based in Mexico City. The topic we're going to talk about today is the real value behind investing. So besides having great panelists, we also have a great topic to discuss. And the first thing that at least came to my mind when I was reading the topic that is the value behind investing is the concept of smart money. And if there's smart money, there's also a counterpart called maybe dumb money, but I'm not sure if that's the best way to call it. So I would like to have your opinion, guys, on this topic. Maybe, Ian, we can start with you?
Maybe.
Maybe, if you would like.
Well, I think it's a good point. No, if there is smart money or dumb money, I think money is not dumb. No, that's my take. Money is never dumb. No, money is very exigente. The English word doesn't come. So I mean, money requires a lot back, right? So it's not dumb. But even though a financial investor doesn't describe itself as smart, they always add a little common sense or network into the game. And the kind of investors that describe themselves as smart, my experience, you know, and I've known many investors in EU, LATAM, and some of them in the US, is that they just give a little strategic guidance, a strategic advice, but they don't dedicate resources. Besides Andreessen Horowitz, Google Ventures, and a bunch of top-tier VCs with 500 million euros or dollars of assets under management and above, which gives them enough commissions to have dedicated resources to helping entrepreneurs. They just provide a little guidance, their network, and something which is in their hand, right? Otherwise, investing requires a lot of time. You know, LPs, a fund, a management company. It's a very sophisticated ecosystem, a very sophisticated activity to do, and the time has 24 hours a day, right? I mean, that's what I think.
Okay, so you're talking about like global scale. Hernan, maybe we can talk about a little bit more in Mexico and Latin America?
Sure. I would say that I agree that money is not per se dumb. And what you will find is, you know, the choice between smarter money, and I think your job or your role as a founder is to try to find the smartest capital available. Money is a necessity. I mean, for high growth startups, it's always you know, needed or desired. And I think that, you know, your best the best scenario to be had is that you have different pools of money from where to draw these resources. And I think that then it becomes some sort of like reverse pitch or something, because if you have like different access from capital and you can choose from a syndicate of investors, or maybe some investors have better operational experience, maybe some other investors might have smarter contacts on how can help more in business development, I think that's where you as a founder will be in a good place. So I guess the counter argument to that is how much liberty or how much freedom do you have with that money, and I would say that also you have to consider that sometimes being completely free or have full ownership of that resources or money and no strings attached, it's not necessarily true. I think that some of the more seasoned investors have been in this rodeo long enough to understand that there's sometimes that you are better off having some resources or probably delivering some milestones, even some tranches. And again, I think it's an options game. The more options that you have, which is your main job as a founder when you're fundraising, then you can definitely go into the main key points of every single VC that you're talking to, and hopefully you can draw the best. And we are, for example, strong believers in co-investments. So out of our 2 funds, we have 54 co-investors in our different rounds. And I think that, again, good funds that really jump on with founders and that can help open doors and, participate actively, where it be, advisor committees or sit on boards. I think they add tremendous value to the success of a startup.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to echo what they are saying. Basically, I mean, again, I don't think there's dumb money either, but there's always the right investor for you, right? For example, like VC now is all in fashion, right? Like everyone wants to get money from VC, right? But not every company is good for VC, right? There are companies that are growing slowly and being successful and being profitable, but VC will want growth, right? Like not all companies are good for VC money. The same thing that even if VC is good for you, not every VC will be the best for you, right? So at Quona, for example, we invest in fintech, so probably if you're looking for something, you need help on fintech in particular, then maybe Quona will be the right one. So each VC has its own expertise. And one advice that I would have for entrepreneurs is that before raising money, they should actually research quite a bit what the VC does, right? Is it the right size? Is it the right time? Are they the right investors? Do they have the expertise that you want? Can they connect you with the right people? So that research, not all startups do. And I think it's very important to find the right investors, because at the end of the day, they're going to be in the board of directors, and they're going to. It's kind of a marriage, right? Like you're there for the long run. So if you don't like that investor, then it's not going to be good for your company, no?
Yeah, hopefully. Okay. Hopefully the founders can get a lot of options. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and maybe you have to see what's happening over there. But we have talked more about VCs with every panelist. But what about in later stages? What about private equity and larger stakes on the company?
Well, I think just building in what everyone has said, I don't think money is done itself. I think probably the right investor will make the right choices in this resource allocation. And the larger the company, the different kind of investor they will need. For example, a fintech company, as Victor was mentioning, probably at the very stage will be funding its loan portfolio with seed capital, because it's the only funding way. But the larger the company, probably they will have access to debt, first venture debt, then banking debt. So it's not itself the money down, but you have to match the stage your company is operating with the kind of investor you are looking for. And also usually these investors bring with them a couple of check and balances that allows the investor to have more certainty on the resource allocation, as I was mentioning, and don't giving freeway to the entrepreneur to start spending in stuff that probably is not the right stuff at this moment in time. And I think this kind of experience is the one that investors can bring to the table, because at the very end we invest in 10, 20 ventures, and the entrepreneur is only going in this way once. So probably you have seen a startup go up and down in a roller coaster, and you have more idea of what can happen by making one decision or the other. And your role as an investor is to guide the entrepreneur and challenge their choices rather than telling them what to do.
Okay. Diego, what about your role with the startups you found? I mean, I know you guys are in a later stage, A, B, larger amounts of money. Do you have a different role than any other VCs? Or what kind of role do you do in every company you invest?
Well, I think that kind of the role, even at most stages, I think the roles of active VCs are similar. We help the companies not in the day-to-day operations, which is the responsibility of the entrepreneurs and the management team, but we help them with the topics that are more strategic. Is the definition of the vision and the strategy of the company, the definition and getting the financing to achieve that strategy, helping them to recruit the talent, in some cases, the top management talent, and also, doing other type of opportunities like acquisitions, mergers with other companies, regional expansion, and that is kind of as investors, I think, kind of the benefit that we have is that we are all the time talking with startups. Probably we have invested in several tens or hundreds of startups, and we have an experience that we see what these companies go through, what are the challenges they face, how other people have solved those challenges, and we bring that experience that, in most cases, entrepreneurs have a much more focused experience on their own business, but they don't have this view on these kind of normal trends that any growing company will face. So that's the type of things that we help them. I'm not going to repeat what my colleague said, but I think one important thing is no matter how smart or dumb the money is, or how active or not active the investor is, if the entrepreneurs are not open to be helped, it doesn't matter. And you will be surprised the number of entrepreneurs that are not open to hear opinions, to receive help, to proactively look for the help of their investors. And so, it's a combination. Investors are bringing things to the table, but entrepreneurs have to be willing to receive that experience, that knowledge somehow.
I think you did a great summary of the role of a VC or any other private equity investor within a startup or a company. But right now we're mentioning the value we add. Is there any time that we don't add value? Maybe we subtract value? Ian, would you like to opinion?
Definitely. I think that most of the time we try to be aligned, but the reality is that most of the VCs mainly protect their investment. Usually, when a company goes well, your investment goes well, but sometimes it doesn't, no? And your investment, goes first, and so there are certain clauses, liquidation preferences, etc., that can make a lot of damage to a company and destroy value, right? And sometimes VCs, we think better of ourselves than we have to, Sometimes we feel that we're more intelligent than we are, and we know more about certain markets and certain models than we do, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we give bad advice, and sometimes entrepreneurs listen to us and they do what we tell them, and sometimes we were wrong, So this is life. We're humans, we can commit mistakes. It's normal. But in my experience, something that is lacking in the industry is getting surrounded by people that have more experience than we do. We are deal makers mainly. We just fundraise from our LPs, and we give out money to entrepreneurs. And adding value really is something that is an extra job, besides our investing activity. And, after 15 years in the industry, more or less, I'm starting to think that it's different. Investing is investing, and adding value is adding value. And I think this is part of my new project. I think that adding value requires focus, and it requires partnering with people that knows about the industry very well at execution level, and we have to do what we know what to do. So we can add value connecting entrepreneurs with late stage VCs, always guaranteeing that there's money in the table when it's needed, and bringing people that knows how to do things, right?
I agree. Yeah. And you actually mentioned something quite important, that is sometimes we give our opinion, but it's not a good opinion. So what about you, Hernán? Have you ever not heard an opinion, but more than pushing, doing something to an enterprise as being being an investor? Like, an investor wants to do something and the entrepreneur doesn't want to, but because they have a seat on the board or a bigger stake on the enterprise, they have to do what the investor says. So that will be subtracting value. Have you ever encountered with that?
No, I would say it's definitely complicated, and certainly the most important part for a venture capital fund is choosing the right people on board, right, and choosing the right team. I would say that the key difference between venture capital and private equity is that private equity is all about the horse, right? You have the right horse, you have the luxury of changing the jockey. And if a team does not work out, as it's supposed to be, then you can fire them and bring someone else on board. Whereas in venture capital, it's all about the jockey, right? Because the horse right now, it's crummy, it's small, it's probably underperforming, so you have to make sure that you empower and you choose the right jockey. Obviously, we in Fund 1, we did 21 investments. And obviously, yeah, we can mention like Clip or Questkey or OneFX. We're super happy, but what about the ones that are not there? And certainly, there have been like, instances where we have to do, the wrong choices. And as much as we would like to empower entrepreneurs, there's sometimes where you have to be more or less like in damage control mode, right? And if for successive periods you're seeing that the right strategy or that the pursuit strategy of, if investing too much in marketing is not paying off, maybe the entrepreneur is still like thinking that something will happen at a certain point that it's a good investment, but probably, at that point, the board will try to do different things, right? So I would not say that the board is kind of like at a difficult position, and because the entrepreneur takes the glory, the gold, or also unfortunately takes the failure, and it's a complicated thing. So I would say that genuinely we have always tried to add value. We always try to listen to entrepreneurs. I would say that actually with fellow co-investors we have tried to play like an active role, and definitely my role at Angel Ventures is to be the person who less knows about the business. And again, it's because my past was as a business consultant and a founder of Angel Ventures, but I love when I'm wooed by entrepreneurs that they simply know too much about their business, right? So you can definitely add certain things to that mix, but I think that we definitely want to bring people to the table who can add a different level of diligence or a different level of conversation to that key decision being made. So in retrospect, I think that we have made the right investment decisions at that with the information given to us and with the right teams. But obviously, there's how incumbents react to that, how different operational circumstances happen, it's never the case. So I would say that we'll take some of the merit when things go well. And I hope that we also be held accountable when things do not happen well and there's some sort of instances where investors were part of that downfall.
Okay, when you mentioned that when things aren't going very well, you will try to do your best to give an advice. But Victor, is there any moment when the advice is not useful anymore? When you say it's not, I mean, it's your investment, but maybe it's not worth it anymore. When is that limit?
That's a tough question. So you're asking when things don't go well and it's hard to turn it around and you just give up? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
So I think these kind of situations never take anybody by surprise. Right? Like when things don't go well, pretty much everyone knows that things are not going well, right? There's always the incentive to say, hey, let's push it a little bit more, let's push it a little bit more. And it happened to me, for example, in one instance in which we had a company that was not performing well. Nobody was saying, hey, we should probably close this, because everyone was being optimistic and thinking, yeah, let's push a little bit more. Maybe we add a little bit more money so that we can turn it around. But in everyone's head, everyone knew that that was not going anywhere, right? So I think that killing your losses soon, it's an important factor, no? But in my experience, in most of these situations, it's more of a matter of taking that decision, but it's something that everyone knows that this decision needs to be taken, and somebody just needs to take it, right?
Okay. We are running out of time, so I just would like to know if Luis, Diego, is there anything else you would like to say? Very quick, in 10 seconds.
Well, I will say like everything in venture capital, it depends. So
no, I'll say, more than, I think the entrepreneur has to look at not only the experience that VC has, but also what's the chemistry with the VC.
Right.
Because at the end, you're going to be working together for 3, 4, 5, 7 years, and it's not something, once somebody invests, it's very hard for them to exit in the middle of the way forward. So, it's a marriage, and you need to have the right people with the right principles, experience, but also with the right chemistry.
And I'd like to add one last thing. I know we are out of time, but following Diego's very good points, when looking at an investor, when analyzing that investor, such as we do a due diligence of the startup, startups need to do not only kind of know what the investor is like, the kind of expertise, but do a due diligence, a back check if what investor is telling is true. And the best advice, and the better, most quick due diligence you can do of an investor is asking their previous entrepreneurs.
Yep.
I mean, has he helped the entrepreneurs? What kind of Is he a nice guy? Is he an asshole? You know, is he adding value? Is he subtracting value? The best, you know, references of any investor are their previous entrepreneurs.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, and please give an applause to these great panelists.
Okay, very good, guys. Is this working? How many times have I said today, is this microphone working? Okay, so if you can get off stage, there's oats and water and all sorts of lovely stuff available for you. Okay. So we're going to do an MC handover. So first of all, are there investors here? I don't really see them. I mean, where are the investors? Okay, come on. Like, are you supposed to, like... Okay, can you all sit down? Okay, Shlomo's going to be an investor. Okay, fantastic. So we had like 9 people this morning, and now, Susie has come. Okay, so suddenly everyone comes in. You don't need to be mic'd, so it's okay. So if everyone is sitting down, okay. So is there a mic for the... So, Andrea, if you want to come out here. So I'm just going to introduce you. So I did the morning people. So I'm handing over now to Andrea to do the afternoon. So are you excited? What you want to say?
Yeah,
anything?
welcome.
Is your microphone working, first of all? Okay. Take a tip from the pros. Check your microphone is working. Okay. So Andrea is going to look after Startup Competition Block 3 and Block 4. And then I'll be back here at 16:50 to do the second 2 parts and also moderate a panel. So adelante, Andrea. Okay. Good luck with everything.
Welcome to everyone to the third block of the Startup Competition. First of all, I want to thank to the jury. Let me introduce them. Hold on. El micro para ellos. With no micro? Okay. Okay. Can we start with you? Can you? Thank you.
So I'm Nacho Mateo. I'm the Chief of Investor Relations of IE Business School. I'm in charge of all the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center and all the entrepreneurship activities we organize worldwide.
My name is Antonio Ocio. I'm a managing partner at Capital Invent, an early stage VC fund investing in startups here in Mexico and Latin America.
Hi, I'm Bernal Lopez, Director of Innovation in Santander. We're looking for new projects with participating with fintechs and other companies.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Rosa Jimenez. I'm part of the Venture City, a VC fund and accelerator.
Hi, I'm Susana Espinosa. I'm part of the investment team at Angel Ventures. We're a venture capital fund with a regional focus on the Pacific Alliance.
Hello, Alberto Terol from Iberia Airlines Digital Transformation.
Next one.
Hi, my name is Shlomi Goren. I represent GVI, Gold Ventures Incubator in Israel. I'm their main advisor, and I'm in their name here today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liliana Reyes, and I'm the CEO of the Mexican Private Equity Association.
Okay. We are going to start with Air Mobile, our first startup. His name is Ivan Andrade. He comes from Mexico City. And Air Mobile sends and writes business messages to companies' customers. Is it working? Yeah. There you go. Ya está.
We really know what it takes to grow an educational company. And the reason we're here is because we are opening operation. We are opening a seed round to boost the team and opening operation in Mexico and expand in Argentina. This will allow us to sell 6,000 courses and generate $3 million in revenue. If someone in the public, it's an expert, wants to become a teacher and open their own school, please let me know.
Sí, sí, porque está escuchando todo el mundo y no saben dónde venía.
Is it working? No. No. Okay. ¿Sí? ¿Con este? Dale. Va a utilizar ese. There you go. Go ahead. ¿No?
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
Ready.
there you go.
Okay. Well, now we're ready to start. Hi again. My name is Ivan Andrade. I'm from AirMobile. And to begin, I would like to talk about something you already use and already know, SMS. SMS is the most efficient way to communicate. We call it the best inbox in the world. Why? Because it has 5,000 million users. The messages are opened in 3 minutes in 90% of the time, and it has a read rate of 98%. It is simply the most efficient way to communicate one-to-one, and is the media with the highest daily active users. But SMS, as powerful as it has limits. You cannot have a custom color. It has no pictures, no video, no branding. There are no read receipts, no confirmations, and there is limited interaction in what you can do with SMS. That is why Google made an initiative to create RCS, which is Rich Content Services. We call RCS the evolution of SMS, and in AirMobile, we are developers of this technology. We are partners of Google, and we are launching it in Mexico. What can you do with RCS messaging? Well, for example, now you can have branding on your messages. You can have a name and a logo. You can have rich media. You can send images, videos, and GIFs. There is a verified sender. There is exactly the company that is sending the messages to the customers with no phishing. There are suggested replies, suggested actions. You can put maps, a chatbot, a calendar, payments. So to summarize, these are 10 reasons why RCS messaging is better. You have photos, videos, GIFs, suggested replies, actions, chatbots. You can have a brand logo, a verified business checkmark. Users can block unwanted brands, and you have all the metrics, deliver receipts and read receipts. So what does our market look like? There are 102 million smartphones in Mexico. We need them to be Android system, and we need them to be KitKat or above. So that's a 96% that have KitKat or above, and that gives us a potential universe of 84 million users. Who are our main competitors? WhatsApp, Facebook, for business, business chat, and other media such as email, push notifications, call centers. But what can we do better? Well, we deliver the messages directly to your default messaging app, and we have the reach of SMS with all these new enriched functions. And we have the support of Google, telcos, and the makers of smartphones. We have our own development team. We're over 22 people in the company, and here's the part that is pushing the RCS messaging. We have all experience in telecommunications and developing software and working with telcos. Our milestones look like this. We have recently launched with Telcel in Mexico. It is now live. We presented that live case at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. And recently, Samsung has agreed to put native support on their phones for RCS. What comes next? There are several brands that are going to be live in 2019, and we're planning to push the launch with Movistar and AT&T. What we're looking for is brands and customers that wants to be the first among in Mexico to prove this technology, and strategic partners to push the use of RCS. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ivan. I'm sorry for the micro problem. Okay, next startup is going to be Alquilando, online marketplace for property rentals made easier and safer. Here, Victoria Simon from Argentina. There you go. Hold on, let me click here. Can you check your micro, please?
Hello? It's okay? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Hope you're having a great time. I'm very happy to be here today. I want to start to asking you a quick question. How many of you have ever rented a property? Raise your hands. Okay, thank you very much. I have to tell you, not a good news. Because you probably have rented the very same way as my grandma did 60 years ago. And the worst part is still being the same thing. And do you find familiar these two guys from El Chavo del Ocho? Okay, this TV show launched almost 50 years ago. And guess what? Tenants still have a difficulty to rent. They need a lot of requirements. And no matter who you are going to be presumed as bad tenant as Don Ramon. And for landlords, it's the same thing. They have no security over getting rent payments on time, like Señor Barrega. So I believe this must change this right now because it's not fair. And how? With Alquilando, the evolution of property rentals. We create a digital marketplace to link real needs with financial products in order to create a better way to rent. Safer, easy, and much more convenient for everyone. Everyone wins. Thanks to our technology and our tailor-made financial products, landlords are allowed to turn the real estate investment into a financial investment. And they get insured their rent payment on time. And for tenants, it's very simple. They can rent online in just 24 hours, only with their income demonstration. Our business model is very simple. We take 10% of the contract within our three revenue streams, the PropTech one, the InsurTech, and the FinTech one. So far, we have validated the model in Buenos Aires, Argentina, with more than 400 transactions. We've been award winners of Seed Stars and BBVA Open Talent, and we have massive media coverage. This is how media loves us, and this is how media loves us too. But the most important love for us is our customers' love. This is who we are. We are here after validating the model, just before starting the growth stage and starting going global. And why global is so important? Because the market is huge and the opportunity is regional. Only taking 4 cities of LATAM, the major ones, and taking just 10% of that market, we represent yearly more than 400 million in commission earnings and more than 3.2 billion in cash flow. But we just started going global. We are developing a pilot in Colombia backed with BBVA in order to create a faster and easily pay for global expansion. This is who we are, a team of seasoned entrepreneurs with more than 18 years of experience in the digital business, especially in marketing, developing products, technology, and product. And we are not here alone. We're backed by VCs, investors, and advisors that really rock, with full experience within real estate, insurance, and financial businesses. So last but not least, I have to tell you one good news today. Next time you're going to rent, you're not going to suffer anymore. Why? Because now you have Alquilando. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Next startup comes from Brazil. Beaters use technology to create a brand new environment for learning a new language. Go ahead. Yeah. Can you check your micro?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, now it's working? Let's see. If this is working. No? See? No. I'm not pressing anything, right? No? Just, it's right, right? A lot of spoilers? No? Yeah, but it's in the middle of the presentation, no? I should go back to it. Okay, now.
There you go.
Yeah, it's working. Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Fabio and I am the CEO of B-Tools. We use technology to create a brand new environment for learning. Some people haven't made it to this stage today for one reason. They're not able to speak English. Actually, in Mexico, only 5% of the population are fluent in English. In Brazil, 3%. And I tell you, language schools are not helping change these numbers. Believe me, this is an advertisement for a language school. Look how motivated students are. So how do you expect engagement? This is why we create a new environment, we change the way students learn, and you change the business model for language schools. If you want to learn a new language today, you have basically two options. Traditional schools with good learning results, poor motivation, and these very cool apps that bring great motivation, insufficient learning results. B-Tools combines the best of the two modules, offering regular classes with great motivation. This is how we do it. First, a VR platform. We created a complete virtual reality series where the student is a character in the first person. We produced 25 hours of content in virtual reality. Second, we launched an app using gamification, neuroscience, and meaningful content to engage students. Third, most important, a data processing system. We use artificial intelligence and big data in order to make a profile of every student, check their performance, and optimize the system according to their results. So, an app, VR, data processing, all combined with the flipped classroom methodology, one of the most advanced ones, that's what makes B-Tools unique. Our business model is to deliver our platform through franchisees, regular schools, and we even have B-Tools classrooms inside companies. We are operating in Brazil, a over $1 billion market for English schools. We plan to expand it to all over the world. In 5 months of operation, we have some great achievements already, such as we raised $700,000 investments, 2,000 students subscribed. We got a contract with $1 million with a major educational group in Brazil, and we have a forecast for revenue next year of $1.5 million. Also some acknowledgements. Our team started from the combination of myself, an entrepreneur with over 10 years experience in the language teaching field, and Binoculus, a startup leader in virtual reality in Latin America. Today, we have a group of 35 outstanding people focused on changing education. People's lives have changed a lot in the past 100 years. Schools have not. So that's what we're working on. We're not using technology to improve an outdated system. We are using technology to start a completely new system. So this is our mission, to start a revolution in education. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you.
Fabian. Okay, next startup comes from Mexico City. Roberto Morales from BUSI is the MAS transit system for commuters in Latam. Thank you. Is your micro working?
Well, no, I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Roberto Morales. I'm CFO of BUSI Mobility. We in BUSI are creating the... we in BUSI are creating a smart mobility through a mass transport system with our platform. We create a platform that is able to analyze all the mobility data that our customers or cities provide us in order to create a network of transportation. But it's not a common rail transport because this is efficient and wants to join all the people together in certain areas in order to offer a more efficient, affordable, and safe transport. All of this in vans of 14 to 20 passengers that look like this. We offer not only technology, we offer experience in transportation because all of our vans look like this and have all Wi-Fi, reserved seats, and trusted drivers that is creating a new way of commute in cities. We already have a so easy customer journey that only needs 4 steps. You only need to tell us where is your pick-up point, where is your drop-off point. You only need to check your ticket, pay for your ride, and then enjoy the commute with Busy. We're not only innovating in mobility in our technology, because our business model is innovative too. We are joining the models. We are selling tickets for corporates and then selling tickets for the people in the street. With this, we can upgrade our return in each van. We treat each van like a business unit. So with this, we can deliver more value to our associates. With our technology, we can optimize routes in order to optimize cost and then increase the return for our associates. Well, as I said, we join different kind of business models in order to reach more people. We are creating a new way of, a new channel, because we're using the B2B site as a new channel for marketing. With this, we have to give discounts for the employees, and then we have the vans at full capacity. Well, the magic of our platform is, as I said, we create a platform that is able to analyze all the data from all the way of transport. Then we can analyze them and use it. At this moment, we are operating a van pool platform, a van pool network in two of the most important cities in Mexico, Mexico City and Monterrey. But we are also creating APIs in order to connect more ways of transport in our application. Well, we at the moment have delivered 150,000 trips in 2 years. We have the biggest community in social network for a van pool company. We have 71 followers in all the social media, and we have at the moment 60,000 registered users, only waiting for more routes to join the network. Well, thanks. That's Lucy.
Thank you. Next startup, CityScan, helps tourists to experience touristic places with multimedia information. Here we have Luis Javier Parra from Colombia. Welcome. Let you. Can you try your micro?
Funciona? ¿Aló? ¿Aló? Sí.
¿Sí?
¿Funciona?
Yeah.
Este es el
Sí.
adelante. Okay.
There you go.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very glad to be here at South Summit, Ciudad de Mexico, so I can share with you our platform that uses different type of technology, such as augmented reality, virtual reality, and audio tools to discover and create great travel experiences. In a city like Mexico, there may be a lot of tourists. Maybe we all are tourists here. Tourists that are willing to discover places, interesting places, and have experiences very interesting. Also, there must be a lot of persons that would like to develop and to publish experiences for those tourists. So with this situation, we have developed, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to play this. I asked for this to take out the video. Okay. For this situation, we would like to, we have developed a platform that is called CityScan. CityScan consists of two parts. One part is application in a mobile phone that uses augmented reality and can find around the space different parts of information. And when you click that, it will show you all the information about the city and around that tourist point. And also, we have the other part, that is the platform for the tourist guides and travel agencies and all people to develop information and to develop experiences for those tourists. We are addressing a market of around 30 billion, derived from more than 1,322 million travelers in the world. That is growing at 6%. And Mexico is one of the top 10 countries of international tourist arrivals according to the World Tourist Organization. In such a big market, there are many competitors, but those competitors are focusing on different type of solutions. One uses augmented reality, while other uses maps, other uses lists, and other just sell the experiences through a list in e-commerce. For that, we have integrated in Cityscan a technology in a platform that will use collaborative economy. So anyone in Mexico or any part of the world that would like to develop experience can use our integrated tour digitalization platform, so they can give to the tourist to discover and enjoy travel experiences with augmented reality, GPS audio tours, and also virtual reality. Our business model is a free use for all tourists, a subscription model for business, and commission fee when traveling, when selling information around it. In Colombia, we have used a strategy to publish Cityscan in big events, travel and transportation industry, and tourist information centers. Our team is composed of a good group of software developers, very creative ones, and a group of experienced business leaders and entrepreneurs. For next year, we expect to have the 3 first cities to adopt Cityscan, and this month we are signing the first white label contract. So for potential customers, potential partners, and potential investors, we invite you to be part of the next phase of development of Cityscan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luis. Thank you very much. Okay, next startups, Color House. Pablo Villas from Argentina is going to introduce it. Color House is a platform that allows experts to create their own school, right? There you go. Hold on a second.
Hi everyone, my name is Pablo and I'm going to introduce to you Color House, a platform where experts can start their own school. According to McKinsey, by 2020, 1/3 of the skills used in today's jobs will expire. This means 3 billion people at a risk of losing their jobs. Digital skills like coding are the new skills to survive, but the current solutions are too expensive. In Latin America, a coding offline course can cost 6 times minimum wage. And not only that, the people who can afford this don't receive the best education. Teaching is not attractive. A coder can make 5 times more money coding than teaching. At the end, we have expensive and bad courses. That's exactly what Color House is solving. We provide a platform to experts to become teachers and start their own school. The way we do this is we give to the expert everything they need to manage, sell, promote, and even we help them to get a physical space to teach. It's like this, partners like Jimena can focus on what they do best, teach and prepare the next generation of digital experts. This is the numbers we get. We launched this model last year, and we already have 120 partners. We are in 3 countries, and we already sold 2,500 courses. Our revenue model is pretty simple. We take 30% of every course we sell, and in the last 12 months, we generate almost $1 million in revenue. Basically, we doubled the revenue from last year. The best part is this. 5 years ago, we created the first bootcamp, coding bootcamp in Argentina, and we expand successfully to Chile and Uruguay. We really know what it takes to grow an educational company. And the reason we're here is because we are opening a seed round to boost the team and open operation here in Mexico and expand in Argentina. This will allow us to sell 6,000 courses and generate $3 million in revenue. If someone in the audience is an expert, want to become a teacher and open their own school, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next startup, Uber Health. They provide medical services through telemedicine. Here, Gabriel Garcia from Madrid, Spain. Welcome.
Okay, so this is an electronic stethoscope. Okay, it has Bluetooth technology, and we have developed software that allows to transfer all the data from here directly where the specialized doctor is located. Okay, well, this is what we really call telemedicine. Okay, my name is Gabriel Garcia, and I'm the country manager here in Mexico City, well, all in Mexico. Well, we have 100 million medical consultations that are made a year through telemedicine, and well, the market value is thousands of millions of dollars. Although, well, 50% of the global population has no access at all to any kind of healthcare. So we have two main problems here. We've got population that do not have access because of the long distance to any medical center, and also the problem of the healthcare cost. Some people cannot afford to go to a specialized doctor. So how do we get to these people? Well, what we do is B2B2C. Okay, we can do it through pharmacies, we can do it through mobile units, we can do it even through insurance companies, okay, and just use our technology. Of course, there is a lot of competition, and all these companies and a lot more can provide medical opinion, okay, but with the help of all the diagnosis gadgets we've got, we are able to provide a medical diagnosis, which is key to get a really good service. And if we add this to our own medical team, we can achieve a 92% on resolution and just decrease the total cost from 60 to 80 compared to a traditional consultant. And of course, 24/7 service. So business model, well, it's really easy. It depends on the business. We can do it pay-per-use or a free payment model. Well, these are that data we've got from Spain. We've got already more than 60,000 Spanish users that are using our medical services, and we make more than 20,000 teleconsultants a year. So right now we are in an international expansion. We are going to go from, we are going to be operating in Mexico from 1 to 3 months ahead. So if anyone wants to join to this e-health experience, just contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. That was good. Okay, next startup comes from Colombia. Roberto Morales is going to introduce us Mangus, an e-learning platform that allows having more motivated students who wants to access learning at all times. There you go. Welcome. Yeah. Así.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Roberto Morales. I'm CEO of Mangus. I'm from Colombia. 254 million children and young people don't go to the school, so that's the reason that e-learning has a fundamental role. Unfortunately, 50% of them drop out, so the desertion is a big problem that we have in the classroom. In the revolutionary era, the school looked like this, and right now the school looks like this too, so that's the reason we create Mangus. Mangus is an e-learning platform focusing on the improved. Okay. Mangus.
No.
Oh.
No.
Hello.
Su micrófono. Sorry for that. No, it's not open. Hi. Sorry.
Don't worry.
You have 1 minute more.
Thank you.
time stop, so.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry for that.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah? Yeah? Is this working? Not.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody listen to me?
Yeah?
No? No. So
Yes? ¿Se le oye desde allá?
¿Se oye? ¿Se escucha? ¿Ya?
No, no,
No.
no.
Okay. We're waiting.
Let's wait. No, empieza de cero. Y le damos uno extra.
Yeah. I think I need one
por
minute
los
more.
nervios.
Yeah, of course. Okay, perfect. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. Thank
Sí,
you.
empiezas de cero.
Okay.
Así tienes más tiempo para preparar. Mira, te puedes comer una frutita. ¿No?
Vale, no hay problema.
Te están llamando. Bueno, pues ahora lo haces mejor. Ya estás con el público ya de tu parte.
Sí, sí, no se preocupen. Don't worry.
Y tienes una extra, lo estabas haciendo súper bien, así que... ¿Sí? ¿Cuánto tiempo lleváis con la empresa?
2 years. Okay? Everything's okay?
No, he wants to restart, right? You want to restart or you want to keep going?
Okay, let's restart.
Yeah?
This
Okay.
is fine. Thank you. Thank
You're
you so much. So, 264 million children and young people don't go to the school. Unfortunately, 50% of them drop out of school. So, desertion is a big problem that we have in the classroom. In the industrial, revolutionary industrial, we have the school looks like this, and in the technology area, the school looks like this too. So that's the reason that we create Mangoes. Mangoes is an e-learning platform focusing on increase the user learning experience. We use the gamification as the main tool for that. We create interactive content, and we use personalized learning using artificial intelligence for that. We are an omni-learning for digital market and digital migrant too. Mangoes is a virtual experience that achieves more motivated students who want to access learning to all the times. We are changing the way how to learn and how to teach in Colombia. There are some comments about the students, motivational students, because 90% of the students that use Mangoes have the highest results in the exams in class. So Mangoes use mobile platform, Mangoes use web platform, and we create contents too. there are some comments that the students asking for more practical activities to the teachers. So it's amazing for that. Mangoes has a theoretical lesson, practical lesson, gamification. We are a ranking. We have points. We have games inside because our meaning this important is to have more information about that. Engineering industry have grown 900%. The market is $2.4 billion in Latin America. So the competition there are some competition, but we are focused on the experience. We are focused on the gamification. That's the really thing that we are really strong. So we used the last year, we're designing the platform and create contents for customers, for companies, for schools, for university. We got $28,000 for that the last year, and this year we got $233,000. In addition of that, the Colombian government gave us $500,000 because using that for virtual reality and augmented reality too. We are using marketing and sales with press, national press, local press, events, social networks, and our page. There are some customers that we have. Our team, we are 25 people. The CEO and I am a COO. I'm a teacher to university. We have a master of that. We have program manager. We have a pedagogical advisor. We have graphic designer, platform administration, and we have a marketing too. Some of the achievements that we had, we was in the top 10 mobile application in Colombia the last year. We invite you to use Mangoes. You can visit mangoes.org/institution and mangoes.org/docentes. Investing, the reason that we are here is because we are looking for $500,000. $500,000 for the 20%. We intend to use that money for sales, and we are focused to go in the $1 million the next year. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Roberto. You did so good, even the problems. Okay, the next startup and the last one to finish the third block is Chorap. Daniel Pino from Ecuador is going to introduce it. His startup was create to save money on the bus tours and experience around the world by booking the empty spaces. Okay, welcome. Here you go.
Not working?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. I like to move a bit, so I'm just going to do this since I'm the last one. Here we go. All right. Okay, this is working. Well, South Summit, my name is Daniel Pino, and I am the co-founder of Tura. So the first thing that you're planning, when you're planning your next trip, the first thing that you do is you want to search for a plane ticket, right? And you want to find the best price out there. You want to find a really good deal, so you start looking into all these websites, playing with all these variables, number of stops, date of departure, date of return, and then boom, you find it. The ticket is $30 less than what you had expected. You're saving money in it. You want to do it right now. You want to book it because you know that prices might just go up tomorrow, right? And then there's the hotel, and it's the same process. All these variables until you find a great room with a great price, and once you find it, you want to book it because you know that the hotel might just run out of rooms, right? This is one of the biggest pleasures of traveling. The feeling of having, even if it's a small amount, the feeling of saving money is something that people really value. You tell your friends about it, don't you? The rush, the adrenaline, booking everything when you find a good deal. So you're on a roll, right? And you want to, the next logical step is to find something to do when you get there. And you run into this. All these tours are being sold on every single website for the same price, on every date at the same price, and they're always available no matter what. This tour, by the way, is $49, a tour to Xochimilco, right? Do you see the problem here? There's no sense of urgency here. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This is larger than hotels, larger than airlines, but only 14% of bookings happen online, just because there's no price advantage in doing so. With TourUp, that's going to change, because people will rush to book their tours and activities online because they can actually save money on them. Remember that tour we were looking at that was selling for $49? Well, on our website, it's actually selling for 30% less. But it's only on a limited amount of spots, so you might want to hurry booking, right? Actually, all of our tours have at least a 30% discount guaranteed. We've achieved the best prices online, better than TripAdvisor, better than Expedia, better than Booking.com, because we know that tour operators have high fixed costs for running these tours. They have to pay the tour guide, they have to pay the driver, they have to pay the gas. So every time they go out on this tour and they have an empty seat, that represents a loss for them. They would rather sell these empty seats for a lower price than not sell them at all. TourUp allows them to do exactly that. We are a marketplace that allows tour operators to sell these empty spaces for a lower price. Our platform uses artificial intelligence to connect to these companies' booking systems to maximize their occupation and maximize their profits by providing great discounts on these empty spaces that travelers can take advantage of. And when that happens, when someone books through our website, we take a 20% commission. Our team has been in this industry for more than 35 years, and that's how we've been able to partner with Greyline, the largest tour operator network in the world, to feature more than 1,000 tours in 75 destinations around the world, all with at least a 30% discount. Our website is already showing up organically on Google 60,000 times per month, growing at a 50% rate. And through Google AdWords, we've achieved profitability levels in 80% of the destinations we promote. With this type of traffic and this type of conversions, we're going to achieve $1 million of net income in years 3, and then keep growing 100% on years 4 and 5. We're asking for $350,000 in exchange for 15% of our company, so we can keep growing our brand and let more travelers know that you can actually save money while booking tours and activities, just like you did on your hotel and just like you did on your plane ticket. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Okay, thank you, everyone. And now we're gonna we finished the third block. We're gonna continue with the fourth block. We wanna welcome to the thank you to the jury. We're gonna change it. Okay, thank you very much. And we are very sorry for the sound problems. We hope we don't have many more. ¿Me ayudas? Sí, venga. Okay. Sí. Aquí está. Okay. Is our jury ready? No? Who's missing? We're starting like 2 minutes. Okay, we're starting in like 2 seconds. welcome. ¿Eres tú? Vale, pues empezamos por ti. Toma asiento. ¿Sí? Okay. Are we ready to start? Yeah? Okay, let me start with you. Alberto?
Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Álvaro. I'm from Iberia, Ireland, and I work in a digital transformation team.
Yeah? Can you?
Hi, everyone. I am Francisco Pedrero. I work in NXTP Labs. We are a VC firm and an accelerator for startups.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nacho Mateo. I'm the Chief of Investor Relations of IE Business School. And I also have to say I'm the proud former COO of South Summit. So it's great to be back here at home.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rina Feinstein. I'm from Israel, and I connect Israeli technologies with markets in Latin America and investments.
Hi, I'm Tara Kemlin-Jones, and I run my own fintech advisory firm.
Hi, I'm José Luis López. I'm the Managing Director of Financial Services at Minsight.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to start the fourth block with the first startup, Akiba. Akiba is the marketplace for all financials and, can you hear me? Yeah. And all financial benefits for normal employees in Latin America. Welcome, Alessandra from Mexico. Hold on, no. Is your mic working? No.
Hi.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm the CEO and founder of Akiba. At Akiba, we're revolutionizing employee financial benefits in Latin America. BBVA considers us the best fintech in Mexico, and we're going to tell you why. So, did you know that 76% of employees in Latin America live from payroll to payroll, and this directly impacts on financial stress? So companies want to do something about it. The good thing is, in Mexico and in Latin America, we have something called employee savings funds, fondos de empleados, cajas de empleados. So what we do is we digitize the whole process so that companies don't have to have that admin burden on top of all the things they have to do. So what we do is we have a dashboard for them where they can see the full overview of their employee savings fund with the deductions that they make to each of them, the individual accounts, and we give them a loan management module through which they can accept or reject loans. On the employee side, it's a free app on iOS, Android, with a click-to-borrow feature where the employee can request for a loan, and this gives us full transparency so that they can see their balances. On top of this, we don't touch the funds. So that's great because we can grow across borders to Colombia, Peru, where there is also a need for this. And it creates a natural synergy with financial institutions which are in the room, like Bancomer, Sura, and others. The market size is huge, 130 million formal employees in Latin America, and this amounts to a total of $30 billion in TAM, total addressable market. So how do we charge? We have two models. We have a SaaS model where we charge the company or the financial institution a fixed fee per month per employee, and we also provide payroll loans on our books. How do we acquire customers? Two ways as well. On one side, because we're enterprise, so knocking on doors. This has worked for us, and we do partnerships. 3 levels, financial institutions, I already mentioned, employee benefit companies, some of them are in the room, and payroll software that have several million employees each. These are some of our clients. Grupo Bimbo is the 4th largest employer in the country, and Cemento Cruz Azul is a very big company. We just won a collaboration with Sura and Philip Morris. This is a POC that we're launching. We're actually launching it today. So it's a proof of concept. The others are running. The best part about Akiba is we have a very strong team We all have more than 15 years experience working in financial sectors all across the world. We're all a multinational team. And this is Akiba. Really, if you can keep one thing in mind is imagine one single marketplace for all the formal employees in Latin America. And from there, you can offer all types of financial services from, as I said, savings, loans, but also insurance. Once we're in a company, we offer all types of services. Just Bimbo, the one you saw, is 72,000 employees. There are not that many startups, fintech startups out there that have 72,000 customers. Thank you.
Okay, next startup is BDO, which provides a full solution for insurance companies through visual intelligence. Welcome, Julio Pernia from Madrid.
Gracias.
Is your micro working?
Yeah,
yeah?
thanks.
Okay.
So hi everyone, my name is Julio Pernia and I am the CEO and co-founder of BDO. BDO, we are revolutionizing the insurance industry because accidents happen, and when this situation occurs, we have two problems. The customers involved in a really messy situation, but also insurance companies that where a situation like this, for instance, fraud, could happen. Normally, claims are very expensive, and it takes a lot of time to close them. And this is because normally we don't have visibility during the process. Well, actually, 70% of all the accidents are small claims, and it's here where the video technology provides a huge advantage. We developed a geolocated video call platform, and we add different technologies, smart technologies, to provide a visual intelligence channel. So the platform works really simple. With just a simple SMS, you start a geolocated video call with an agent. This is really interesting because we developed artificial intelligence, where we can take measurements in the video streaming. We also developed different deep learning algorithms to be able to recognize damage directly on the video streaming. With this technology, we were able to reduce 80% in the cost of the adjustment, and we reduce 90% in the time that you normally spend in the assessment. That means that 9 of 10 customers are really satisfied with this kind of solutions. Our platform works not just for auto claims, but also for property and casualty. For instance, if you want to subscribe a new insurance, you can use BDO for that. Also, to automate the claims and for garage supervision. If we think about banking, we can also use this technology for opening accounts remotely, and also e-health for remote diagnosis. Our business model is really simple, just a setup fee plus a pay-per-use. The team has been working together in the insurance industry for the last 10 years, so we have a lot of experience on the table. We have offices here in Mexico and also in Madrid. This is the plan for the next year. We're actually working in Spain, Portugal, Guatemala, and Mexico, and we are going this year to the rest of South American countries. And finally, why video? Well, we are a passionate team which has developed a great product which solves a real problem in a huge market and in a very innovative way. Thank you very much.
Okay, next startup comes from Colombia. Salomon is going to introduce us blockchain service for document authentication, tracking, and fraud protection. Very blog. You have 3 minutes.
Working?
Yeah?
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. So let me check if this is working. Seems not. Yeah. I'm sorry. All right. So, Verilog. We are the protectors of valuable documents, all right? Imagine that you have a very important document, that you're a bank, for example, that you are BBVA. When you are BBVA, you have a ton of important documents. When you are lending someone money, they sign a contract, right? The promissory note. This is very important because that contract is what makes the debt enforceable, right? Usually you need to have that document safe, not only for banks, let's say for invoices, let's say for any kind of contract that you may sign. If you give someone a service, they sign a contract, and probably that service is important to you, and you need to get paid. Now, you can protect it in many ways, right? A ton of people just put their notes under their couch. You can put it on a safe. But any system that you could foreseeably use, even a very highly technological computer system is bound to fail or to be hacked. Even if someone just leaves a post-it note in their computer, you can lose your documents and access to them. And therefore, you can lose the money that you were going to get paid due to that contract. So what do we do with Verilog? With Verilog, we create a representation of your documents on blockchain. Any kind of document. It can be an invoice, it can be a contract, it can be a promissory note, even stocks. And with this representation, we verify that the document has not suffered any change over time. So once you create a document and you upload it to Verilog's platform on our blockchain, you can keep track of the original state of the document in case that if you ever go into a disagreement with your counterparty in legal matters, you can prove who has the right document. If there's fraud on the document, if there's a change, you can always prove which was the original document and the original version. We also keep track of the ownership of the document. So in many markets, for example, here in Mexico, factory markets with invoices, there's a very large secondary market where one invoice can be sold to 2, 3, 4, 5 investors before it's executed. Now, on this process, there can be fraud. How can you tell the 5th investor who is not buying from you, who is buying from the 4th investor, that the document that he has is authentic? With Verilog, once you authenticate a document, it's authenticated for life and for any buyer of the document at any point in time. And most importantly, this is very cheap. There are already solutions to solve this. For example, for promissory notes, there are custodian banks. For stocks, we have stock houses, right? But these are all expensive. They charge you a commission on the amount that you're securing with them. This is less than 50% of the cost, and it's not dependent on the amount of the contract. It's not dependent on the amount of money that you're securing. Our team is made up of 3 very experienced entrepreneurs with very different backgrounds. We have a psychologist, we have a lawyer, and myself, a marketer. And we have a board of very also interesting advisors, mainly a serial entrepreneur in Colombia, Julio Molano, and Rocker Labs in Miami, a serial company builder. We've been recognized in the Colombian market and overseas. We are the only Latin American startup that is part of Holt's FinTech Accelerator in Montreal. I'm going to be there on Thursday. We are part of Rocker Labs as well. And we already have pilots with BBVA Colombia and with Compensar in Colombia also. We're also expanding to other countries. So we are the only blockchain-based solution that is actually in Latin America doing documental asset protection. If you feel this is important for you, please come to talk to me after the talks are finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, the next startup comes from Uruguay. Milton Rodriguez is going to introduce us Mis Finanzas. Welcome, you can get into the stage. Mis Finanzas reinvent financing to support small and medium enterprise to solving the problem of working capital.
Yep,
okay.
Yep, there is.
There you go. The stage is yours.
What's going on? Is it? Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Milton Rodriguez. I'm the CEO of Mi Finanzas. Mi Finanzas, we are reinventing the financing of small and medium enterprise. But let me, whoa, what is going on? Okay. So let me start with why are we doing this? And meet Albert. Albert has a small company for furniture, and he sells his goods, and the customers pay him 60, 90 days ahead. So in order to get the cash in advance, he goes to the private lenders that gives him maybe 80%, more than 80% of interest rates, charge 80% of interest rates. So he's paying a lot of money because of the lack of cash. And this happens also in maybe 90% of the companies in the world are small and medium enterprise. So in order to what's going on? Okay. In order to solve this problem, we find another problem. People with savings that cannot invest their money, but can get maybe 10% of interest rates annual. So while one weighs 80%, he gets 10. So we created a platform that solves the problems of both. Come on. Whoa. There you go. With these problems in mind, we created a platform that solves both problems at the same time, get a better results for both. We created 2 products. Today? Okay, that's the reason. We created 2 products, but we are here to talk about manufacturing. Manufacturing is the marketplace in which the SMEs can upload the account receivable and can sell it, defining the interest rates. So here the SME is the one that defines how to pay. And people with savings can get most of the investment options. So the automated analysis ensures 99% of the success rate so far. Just moving that. The market is really small in Uruguay, and we are targeting 1% of the market in Uruguay. Uruguay is a small country. We didn't make this to work in Uruguay but factoring is global, and the market is huge. So the business model is free for SMEs, which are the ones that need the help, and we just charge 24% of the interest to the investors. So competitors are everywhere, but the small and medium enterprise loves us because of the interest rates and speed and the low requirements, while the investor prefers us because of the interest, also the profit, and the low level risk. You can read anything there. And the low complexity. So the team maybe is the best. There are a mix of different roles, different backgrounds, and we have everything covered, and also an advisory board that allows us to grow and are available at any time with knowledge of the market and the banking and the financial institutions. So let me show you a couple of metrics. We have more than 1,500 transactions right now, 99% of success rate, and we have transacted more than 6 million through the platform. We granted $6 million in 20 months. And if you think it is not impressive, reminds that it was just in Uruguay. That's a small piece of country in Latam. So the market is huge. So our roadmap, let me wrap up with this. Our roadmap we have launched on 2017. We are consolidating right now the product in Uruguay, the first product in Uruguay. We just closed a seed round of 100K, and we are launching the factoring solution in the upcoming month. And we will be opening new markets next year also. So we are opening a new, it is open, the seed funds, to open markets and also scale the team in order to move forward with this factoring solution across the LATAM. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's not working good. Okay. Next startup is called Millas para el Retiro, Millas for Retire. They come from Mexico City, and Millas for the Retiro has the first concept. There you go. Thank you.
Save money for.
Yeah? Not yet. There we go. Has the first concept, spend to save, associated with national pension system, right? Okay.
That's correct.
Is it working?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's okay?
Yeah?
Now?
Yeah?
Now?
Is the clicker working?
Yeah, here. Should I aim here? Perfect.
Okay,
there you
go.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Thanks. I'm Jorge Lopez. I'm the CEO of Millas for Retirement. I'm an actor and I've been doing pensions for all my life. My first company today invests 2.2 billion in pension assets. I'm a pension expert and a serial entrepreneur. According to the World Bank, 85% of us is going to lower our income once we reach age of 70. Increasing life expectancy has been hurting social security all over the world. So now living longer, it seems bad. How twisted is that? Temporary political teams do some reforms that are always too late and too little. People are dying way poorer than the way they were at the working age. So this is one of the largest challenges of the millennium. This is why the ONU have them on them. Something that we have demonstrated in the last 100 years, we love to buy. Everybody loves to buy. So we are the first company in the world that links lifetime savings to your national pension security account. Please, video.
Save money for my future through my purchases? Now it's possible. Presenting Millas para el Retiro, the first tool created to save money through daily expenses. With Millas para el Retiro, consumo y sumo. Gas, my cappuccino. Groceries, the movies, pizza, whatever you want. I download a simple app, register my credit card, and decide to add a little extra to my weekly expense. Millas para el Retiro works in partnership with Consar and leading brands. The idea is to save money without giving up our shopping and the things we like the most. With Millas para el Retiro, consumo y sumo.
Attacking the core behavior of spending brings this automatization for saving for the retirement. We are not wired in our brain to save for retirement. We are the first company in the world that has convinced large consumer brands to chip in some money from loyalty programs or from marketing cashbacks. All of this adds to your savings account. So this goes to the National Social Security. We have found similar concepts in the UK, the US, or Spain. None of them connected to the National Social Security. And the best of all for Mexicans, this is 100% free. This service is free for every Mexican. 54 million Mexicans can access this in just 3 minutes and like 10 clicks. We have found 3.5 billion market around the world that have similar pension plans like in Mexico. Social securities with direct contributions are in these 25 countries. The advertisement money in those countries is 100 billion US. Imagine the potential to help poverty for the elders. We have been investing in some digital marketing and social media. We are also included in all strategic plans of the main business councils in Mexico. We have been working for the last year, and today we have more than 9,000 downloads. We have more than 2,000 credit and debit cards already enrolled. Last week, we sent 50% more savings in the savings account than any other. We're the third largest producer of voluntary savings in our country. We have strong partners, technology and consumers, and we have been winning some prizes like the BBVA Open Talent, and the World Pension Summit is the most prestigious award for any pension industry. This is the team. Abram, my lifetime partner and co-founder, is the president of the Pension Benefit and Social Security of the International Actuarial Association. We're experts. But we also joined with geriatricians, marketing experts, technology, all of these helping on a mission that really moves us, which is helping everybody reach a worthy retirement. We are looking for all the help that we can first to expand in Mexico and then to fast forward to other countries. So jump in and help us disrupt the pension industry. Thank you.
Very good, Jorge. Thank you very much. Okay, let's start MoneyMo, e-commerce technology that provides a mobile shopping platform. He comes from Turkey.
Yep.
So the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Can you is your micro working?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
There you go.
Hi, everyone. This is Barış from MoneyMo. MoneyMo is an e-commerce platform that provides the ability of mobile shopping for banking apps. In the last decade, as our mobile technology developed a lot, we started doing everything on our mobile phones. Except shopping is still in its incubation stage. So in order to cover all the necessities of customers, a system must be available in everywhere. People must be able to shop inside the stores, on the e-commerce sites, and also on the go or at the outdoor. It also has to cover all the necessities like not only payments, but ordering, campaign management, loyalty management, and even the credit systems of the banks. It also has to support omnichannel and click and collect models. So MoneyMo is in the middle of financial institutions and retailers, integrating the product catalogs and the prices of the retailers and all the necessary services of banks, mobile apps, e-wallets, and in the future IoTs. It's a simple API integration, just like a plug-and-play service, and it helps the international banks to surpass local barriers. So to make people accustomed doing mobile shopping, it must be as simple as taking a selfie. People mustn't be forced to download new apps all the time and get used to them. To be more clear, you just run into a store like Zara, log into your most favorite and most trusted mobile banking app, choose the option of shop with QR code, the camera turns on, you shoot the QR codes inside the store on the price tags of the products, you see the product details and prices, and you just approve your payment. You walk out of the store without carrying anything on hand. The goods are delivered directly to your address. Oops, sorry. So to make people accustomed again, it must be everywhere. So you must be able to pay your bills, shop in the stores, and even on the outdoors or from the billboards or advertisements, you must be able to shop. So it will make store sizes smaller, so less cost for retailers. Only one sample from each product will be enough to make the mobile shopping. Also, fast food restaurants will be faster. So you can put menu boards on the outside or entrance of the restaurants so that people may order from the menu boards with the QR codes and just go and grab their goods from the pickup point. It has many advantages. It has endless sales channels. Even the product itself may become a sales channel with a QR code on it. It increases the possession pace, the mobile phone usage, and it helps measurable marketing. So retailers may decide which way to go. And it decreases the cash register and payment queues. So no extra integration cost and no extra fraud because you're already inside your banking app. This is our team of 6. Now we became 7 with a follow-up guy. 3 on the architecture side and 3 on the business side. We have an average experience of 20 years in our businesses. So established in 2016 and had our initial investment last year on August. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Okay, next startup, OGO7, is a fintech company with proprietary lead generation and customer acquisition platform. They work with an entire market of lenders and financial providers in Latin America. Welcome.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Buenas, ¿cómo estamos hoy? ¿Bien?
Se te oye muy bien.
Vale, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity for being here. It's very exciting for us. My name is Elizabeth Lloyd. I am the co-founder and CEO of Ojo7, or as they would say in the States, OGO7. We are an online lead generation and customer acquisition company focused on consumer financial products in Latin America, generating 30,000 applications a day for anything from loans to credit cards to bank accounts. We are headquartered in San Francisco with our main office here in Mexico City, which is one of my favorite places in the whole entire world. We also have offices in Madrid. We are cash flow positive, having gone from $0 to $3 million in 9 months. And I'd like to introduce my right-hand man and COO co-founder, Prem.
Buenas tardes. Hola. Hi. Yes, well, Ojo7, right now we currently have a proprietary platform that we built in-house and focus on integrating the different media platforms that exist out there, and we can deliver leads that convert really well into clients for our customers. Right now, we are generating 30,000 leads a day. We've delivered over 100,000 loans just in less than 9 months.
And we're also the exclusive partner for Banco Azteca, for the digital channel. We also work with CDMX, so we have a whole plethora of consumer financial companies.
Yeah. So right now we are focused on Mexico, and our second biggest market is Colombia. Our next biggest step is jumping into Argentina, Peru, and the Caribbean, and Chile. So those are the next big markets that we have in mind. So what we do right now to deliver these leads is with proprietary brands and platforms and technology. The way we generate this is through proprietary technology and sorry, I'm kind of lost my track, sorry.
So we also have a database of 5 million consumers here in Mexico, in Colombia. So we have all their financial information, personal information, which is super important for all of our clients because we're able to segment really well and target very well as well.
Yeah. So let me talk about the team. Elizabeth has over 15 years experience in the consumer marketing industry. Her previous company was in England and US, where you were making $20 million a year. You decided to export this model to Mexico, so it was like a year of emergentizing your model here in Mexico. And we can really ramped up since November last year. Our CFO is Chris. He's in Wall Street and Goldman Sachs banker. He's based in SF in San Francisco. Our CTO is from Mexico. He's built all the key platforms, several platforms in Mexico for different lender companies here. And he's building all the full platform for Ojo Siete. And myself, I've been setting up several companies in the past 10 years in Europe and US in the field of marketing technology.
And he's also an IE alum, so.
Yeah, so that's my school as well. So we have little time left. Right now, in terms of, I think we pretty much covered these fields. So is there anything else you want to add?
So we're also excited to announce that we're launching one of Mexico's first online educational portals for consumer finance education in February. So be on the lookout for that. We also have a lot of the famous journalists from El Financiero, Bloomberg Mexico, El Sol that will be contributors to this portal. So as soon as that's launched, watch out.
Yeah, we believe that we just also have to bring something to the table to the Latin American market, which is non-profit, non-revenue generating, but that brings value to the community as well.
So thank you so much.
Gracias.
Gracias. Sí.
Good. Thank you so much. Okay, next startup is Puraru. It's a marketplace for all your home expenses. And David Rovira from Barcelona.
Sí.
You're welcome. You're going to introduce it.
Fantástico. All right. Look around you. Look in your pockets. Look everywhere. Technology has changed our lives in ways we couldn't imagine. And it will keep doing so for years to come. Yet somehow, managing home expenses still sucks. If you don't agree with me, it's either because you have never done it yourself, so thank the person that has done it for you. You didn't have the time or the patience to actually do it. I didn't have the time or the patience to do it. Or you are or will be one of our clients. But what is it that we do? It's very simple. We offer you the best providers out there. We select them. We know they're better because they have renewable energy, better contract terms. They're 100% digital. They're looking forward. And that's key for the consumer today because we're designing a system for them. What this translates into is that you pick whichever service you have in your house, basically water, gas, electricity, insurances. We optimize those contracts. We do all the work for you. We unify it all in one platform. If you have more houses, you can add the houses. If you live somewhere else, you can add wherever you are. And then what we do is we offer you one monthly payment for all your services combined. You don't need to think about it. You have control, absolute control on your bank account. And that is a problem that we all suffer from. You never know when bills come. No one notifies you. That's things that the consumer is looking for, and that's what we are offering them. But what's actually cool, what actually is exciting, is that we're creating an ecosystem with all the players, big banks, any providers, they can join in. The key is not to fight the big corporations. The key is to create an ecosystem where all players can benefit from. And that's the future, where all the corporations can introduce and give more value propositions to consumers. Here's where you have big data. Here's where you have upselling and cross-selling of other products that the consumer wants to have, but they don't want to manage the services. And that's where we are. Now, the market is big, obviously. You have a lot of industries going in together, and that is true. Just so that you have an idea, only in Spain, only for water, electricity, gas, and internet, we spend more than 32 billion euros. That's 32 billion euros of potential, of innovation. We can do anything there. You know, innovation is not, I give you the bill and set on a paper on PDF. Innovation means we have to restructure the whole system, and that's the fun part of this. Now, for the past year, we've been all over the place. We've won BBA Open Innovation Talent. We've won Santander Open Innovation Talent. And yes, even though this is great, validation is amazing. What really matters is, can you make money out of this? Yes, we can. You know, the consumer pay us, and all the providers pay us for many reasons. You know, for acquiring new consumers, for lifetime value. We increase it, they pay us more. For their consumption, they pay us. If we can sell you products that they offer from any of the industries, we get paid. So that's always, it's pretty cool. And we could go into metrics on how it all works and how many clients we have. But what really matters is that we have a conversion rate of 10%. That is extremely high. And yes, only with 1,000 clients, you can manage up to 250K per month. Keep adding numbers. Why? You're managing a lot of money, and you can do a lot with that. Now, competitors, we believe that competition fosters innovation and change. So the more we are, the better. You want to do it? Do it. Come join us. Why? Because, it's the only way we can change the world. Now, where are we going? We want to become the world's largest home service provider without owning any service. That's how you become disruptive. You have to change the rules, and that's how you do it. But how can you accomplish this? With an amazing team. And what are the teams? It's not just founders that have masters in innovation, that are aerospace engineers, or master in international business law. No, it's also investors. It's also advisors. It's also partners. If you can get this together, if you want to change the world, you have to focus on people. If you want to change the world, you have to focus. You have to focus on helping those next to you. And if you can do that, the rest will follow. Thank you very much, and hope you have a lovely evening. Sorry, thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, last startup comes from Brazil, and Felipe Cunha is going to introduce us to Garantido. Here you go. Garantido makes insurance digitally accessible for the people that they need it most, right?
Need it the most, that's
okay,
right.
There you go.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Are you protected when adversities happen? Maybe you are, because you might have access to insurance, but the great majority of people are not. My name is Felipe Cunha, and I'm CEO and founder of Garantido, a Brazilian social impact insurtech that aims to give digital access to high-quality and affordable insurance products to everyone, everywhere, especially for the people that need it the most. Over the last 20 years in Brazil, the low and middle-income customer segments were able to buy for the first time a car, to finance their homes, or even see their kids going to the university for the first time in their family history. However, when disaster strikes or adversity happens, they often slide back into poverty again due to the lack of financial protection. For this reason, you have created Garantido, a chatbot automated platform that allows an end-to-end insurance sales process. Our integration with government data services and big data services allows much faster and automatic underwriting process. And our clients, assisted by our chatbot, they can better understand the products they are buying, and also they can buy their insurance policy in less than 7 minutes, 100% online. So far, we have achieved more than 2,000 clients, but most importantly, 95% of our clients are buying insurance for the first time in their lives, which really proves our thesis that when given the right products, the right channels, and the right technology, low and middle income customers, they do buy insurance. Our business model is very simple. We can, as digital brokers, we charge a commission to every policy sold in the platform, or we can either work as a software as a service model with insurance companies that would like to launch their digital operations with us. We have a small but highly experienced team combining more than 50 years in the insurance and the financial services industry. And we're honored to say that our work has been recognized by important players in the market, such as BBVA, where we had the opportunity to win the Open Talent for Best Insurtech, and also Munich Re, as we have awarded the Most Promising Startup last year. In addition to that, we are sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation due to our contribution to financial inclusion through technology. Technology is really paving the way to give the low and middle income people better access to digital inclusion. Jump in and let's build this road together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, we're done. Okay, I'm live. Okay, some of you might remember me from this morning, but there are no more startups. That's it. So you guys can get up and go, really. This is about it. So now the fun starts. So all of these numbers have to be like put into a spreadsheet, and then they have to be like added, and then we have to find out who wins and who goes on to, I think, pitch in the arena stage, if I'm not mistaken. So if all of you can get up and go to the other room. I'm very bossy, haven't I? I know, it's like, I'm not joking, but you know. So if all of you can get up, and what we have to do then is a small process of me just sort of basically filling in time. So I found out 5 minutes ago I have to fill up time. So what I'm going to do is that, yeah, you know, I'm a professor, so I should be able to sort of speak on my, speak without requests. So what I'm going to talk to you about is the following. And it's the talk I gave yesterday at the boot camp. So this actually could turn out to be much more interesting than a lot of the startups you've talked, because if you could keep it down there 1 second, okay? Premium education going on here, if you could keep it down there. So just because someone doesn't have PowerPoint doesn't mean they're not speaking, okay? So let's continue on, okay. So yesterday in the boot camp, and some of you guys might have been in the boot camp, you might have seen that what I was talking about was scale-ups. And I've started 8 companies in my life, and none of them, you know, some of them have been very successful, some of them have not been successful. But I only found out about halfway through what I was doing how to do it. And there's this guy called Peter Drucker who writes a lot of management education, and he talks about this thing which says, you know, most entrepreneurs are not successful because they don't know what they're doing. And that's a very tough thing to say, because 95% of all of the people you have seen today will not be a successful company. And the thing is, to actually get even beyond that, only about 1% will ever get to scale. So the numbers are tremendously greater. So after about my 4th or 5th startup, I started to ask myself, why was this happening and what should I do? And the answer to that question was found in something called scaling up. And the 2 words that everyone needs to learn is experimentation and simplification. That's literally all you need to know. Was there anyone who's here that was in the boot camp yesterday who heard me? Okay, so you guys have heard this before. So this is classic experimentation and simplification. In other words, the notion, and this is what companies don't do. Companies and people in general are not into simplification, but it's the most important step that you ever take in a business. And I was even I was in the other stage and watching about corporates innovating. And the most important thing you need to do is you need to simplify your business. And there were businesses here today that were trying to do way too many things. And it's impossible to do too many things. And you will never be successful when you try to do too many things. So the process of starting a business is the following, and I've been doing it for, you know, I've been doing it legally for about, let me see, I'm 40, for about 20 years, and illegally for about 15 before then. And the process is as simple, that you have an insight, you have a value that something is possible, and what you need to do is experiment it in order to de-risk it. This perhaps sounds complicated. So I always talk about the bunch of donuts. So if somebody wants to have a donut business, there's a world of difference between having a donut business and the experimentation you need to take place. If you want to sell donuts, you ask yourself, do they come in boxes of 5? Do they come in boxes of 10? Do they come in boxes of 8? Are they vertical? Are they narrow? Do they come with paper? Do they come with plastic? Do they come with chocolate? Do they come with cream? Do they come with like the variation all the time? But it's that level of detail that you need to experiment. Because ultimately, there is something, and if you look at the foundation of all companies, they always have something that they got past that enabled them in order to scale. And who's here in the audience is actually an entrepreneur who has a company? Put up your hands. Okay. So this is like probably something you're all struggling with. In fact, some people will say, I must come up to you and have that conversation with you. But what you have to do is experiment, find out what works, and then simplify on that thing. And that's the only thing that will give you a chance. And the rest of it might be interesting on a personal level. I mean, starting a company is always interesting. It's never a waste of time, you know. But in order to get to a certain stage, that's the only way you can do it. You need to experiment, find out what works, and then simplify on the thing that works. I'm going to tell you 2 other things that are pretty interesting that people say, why do you do educational courses? And the thing about educational courses is, and this is true of IE, of course it's true in IE, and the reason that you do an educational course is to give you confidence. the number of people that were amazingly nervous inside there, I would say 80% of the people, maybe even 90% of the people, were extremely nervous in there. There was one or two who, would happily do this all day. So the thing about educational courses is that it opens the way to three things. It opens the way, first of all, to critical thinking. And critical thinking is the only thing that is going to, survive you from the march of the robots and the AI and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the thing about critical thinking is it has to be focused on a narrow area. Too many people, when they talk about critical thinking, they talk about too broad an area. But you can only critically think about something that in a very, very narrow sense. So that's the one skill you need to learn. The second thing is communication. The number one reason I see between people who I graduated with and when we meet in reunions, we talk about this notion of like what's different. And the people very often that have succeeded were the communicators. In other words, they were people who were able to communicate the value of what they did and not allow others to take their value. And that's what you see all the time. You see people that are very good at what they do, but what happens is because they can't communicate it, other people take credit for their work and they don't advance in organizations. So if you're not good at communication, it's something you can work at. And it's something that the lesson in communication is this notion that communication is how you make people feel. Most of the time, people don't understand or hear what you say. If I was talking in a foreign language, okay? So I could talk I grew up speaking Irish. I couldn't speak any English till I was about 5. So if I started to speak to you in a language, you could probably listen to me, even though it's a language you never heard, for about 5 minutes. Just looking at, my manners, whatever, the curiosity involved. So communication is about how you make people feel. And all of these people who were worried about their PowerPoint, they needed to ask themselves, how are they making the audience feel? Did they make any of the audience think, wow, I got to get that right now. I got to get that right now. So critical thinking, communication, and the final thing is working in teams. And those are the three skills that you need to have. The important thing about working in teams is the following, which is that most educational systems, my own educational system included, what we talked about a lot was making your weaknesses to be okay. So teachers would examine your weaknesses. They would say to you, oh, you're not good at something, and they would try and bring you up to an average level. But communication, when you get to a certain stage, is actually not about that at all. It's about finding out what you're good at and getting even better. And also finding people to work with who have the things that you don't have. And I think it's more important when you say, oh, I want to start a company, that you find the people before you find the ideas. I was just talking to a former student of mine downstairs, and he was like, I'm working for Deloitte, but I want to start a company, but I don't have an idea. And I said, you don't need an idea, you need a person. And you need to have a variety of skills. The formula that I use is this idea of having a product person, a numbers person, and an operations person. And you see what's interesting about that, whereas a product person just thinks about the customer and the interaction with the customer and largely nothing else. The numbers person deals with the numbers, but it can be distracting if the product person has to deal with the numbers, and then you have operations. And probably in terms of what I do every day in all my companies, is more stuff that goes bad than goes good, and you need to have a specific person to handle that. Because if you have the product person handling it, then you have dealing with the negatives. So the product person needs to believe in the story and needs to sell the story and needs to not know about what other nonsense is going on. So those are kind of the things you need to think about. You need to think about critical thinking. As I say to my students when they want to get a high grade in my class, how did you kind of work out what was different about me as a professor? What did you sort of say? What kind of student you think he likes? What kind of term paper? For instance, I would reward very highly someone who took a big risk in their term paper rather than someone who gave a very conventional answer. So somebody who challenged conventional thinking, like Apple is bad, or, something like that. Steve Jobs was, I read that as the first line in my paper, and I'm literally giving the guy, a thing already. And there's actually is an argument that Steve Jobs, even though we talk about him the whole time, was very bad for American capitalism in an awful lot of ways because of the way he set an unfair thing that not everyone can attain to. But, you know, for instance, in China, they have, you know, they don't have any time for Steve Jobs and what he does, certainly my Chinese students. The other thing I want to mention is this notion of entrepreneurship, and I mentioned this yesterday in the boot camp, that entrepreneurship is not about 19-year-olds and people. In fact, those are probably the worst people. The model that I see most of the time is people who work in a company for about 10 years, right? And they learn deep domain knowledge, whether it's shipping, whether it's logistics, whether it's supply chain, whether it's, you know, selling donuts. And so they take that domain knowledge and then they start a company, and it takes them about 10 years again to really get the value. And then they sell that company. The average age of a company founder, the average is 45. So again, I'm thinking of my student downstairs who's probably in his early 30s, and he's thinking, it's incredible that he's thinking that it's too late. A lot of people are amazingly, they are retired by big companies in their early 40s. I find that to be absolutely staggering. So that they say it's like this, prejubilados con 45 años. And actually, those are in their perfect situation. Very often they get a finiquito and they have the money then that they can start a company. But that for me is the most exciting part about entrepreneurship. And people who are older, you know, and I'm talking about myself, you know, there's a number of characteristics. We don't mind showing vulnerability because everyone's been through stuff. We don't mind asking for help. You know, we're much more realistic about what we're doing. We don't kind of waste jobs. Very often, done is better than perfect. So you have all of these kind of characteristics that are actually very suitable for entrepreneurship. A lot of younger entrepreneurs that are successful are just lucky. That's all they are. They are just lucky. And what we're starting to see more and more, because of, you know, things like healthcare is better, people are living longer, people are fitter, communications, the price of starting a company is better. What you're starting to have is that older entrepreneurship is becoming a thing. The other thing I mentioned yesterday in my talk was this notion of the end of startups and this thing of the S-curve. And we're starting to come into an era now where you need to be big rather than small. And some of the reasons for this is because of, you know, Amazon and who coming in and taking market share. But the other big reason for it is that a lot of the new technology coming in things like exponential technologies and things like drones and AI and all of these kinds of things, those things are like literally the only chance you have of beating an Amazon or an AI or Facebook or whatever like that. And in order to understand those things, you have to work with a corporate. So you're in the age now that, you know, previously we're in the age when you could defeat a corporate, whereas now you're in the actual age where you have to work with a corporate. And Jay Reinman was here earlier on, and what he was saying, actually, it was really, you know, this is very often things that, what he said was extraordinarily interesting, and most people were gone for lunch. But he talked just about corporates and their ability to not understand the consumer, and how an acquisition for a corporate is generally extremely good business. In other words, I've sold, the last 2 years, I've sold about 3 of them. I sold a whiskey company. I sold a kind of a phone app sort of a thing. And in each case, we had done the sweat and tears to kind of create the product. And then we just had to pop it into the supply chain of the corporate. We were negotiating the sale, and he was telling me, you know, it was about $100,000, and we were like negotiating what the price was. And I said, listen, in 18 months, you will be making this amount of money per day using our product. And here you are negotiating the value of it. So, you know, for big companies, you know, there's tremendous value in acquiring startups. So, and just as for small companies, if you need drones or these kind of things, it's a good idea to work with larger companies. Because that's, you know, that's sort of the way business is going to go. And then in 20 years, it'll shift back to the other way. So those are sort of the kind of the points I made yesterday. That in terms of, you know, taking courses in education and those kind of areas, critical thinking, communication, and working in teams. And you can get better at all of those things. You know, people say, like, unless you're natural. You know, the big joke is about people who claim they're natural, but they practice all the time. Even people who are good or practice all the time. So, you know, you start to see other people who really kind of, you know, work out, they video themselves, they really seek feedback, they look at what they're better at, they visualize what they've done. They come to the stage. You know, if I was presenting, you know, here, I would have come to the stage, I would have sat here, I would have looked at how the thing was, I would have got my brain to try and work through like what the thing looks like. I would have made an effort to try and find out who the judges were. And a lot of the startups didn't do any of that. But it's that kind of detail that makes the difference. And you see in very competitive environments, you see people doing that. And it's extraordinary the way they just don't leave things at random. They just don't go, well, I'll turn up, I'll pitch it, and if I win, that's great. If I don't win, that's not great. So like the detail really matters. So that's kind of the big thing. How are we doing, Louis? We're 5 minutes, okay. I'm not joking, by the way, that they did literally tell me, can you stand up there and do that professor stuff you do for like 15 minutes? I'm getting close to be out of material, so I'm just going to tell stories, right? Listen, in Ireland, that's all we do is we tell stories. So how did I have a whiskey distillery? So yeah, so a friend of mine, I really am going to tell stories, why not? So a friend of mine, he said to me, he was living in Paris with his beautiful Parisian girlfriend. Well, she was Finnish, actually, but they were living in a beautiful area of Paris. And she promised that they would never, ever want to move back. And then the kids were born, and she decided they wanted to grow up in Finland because they have a very good educational system. So he called me one day, and he said to me, he said, listen, Joe, everything is great. Everything's fantastic. He said, but I can't learn Finnish. It's too difficult to learn. So it's like, what are we going to do? So I made a joke. I said, well, do something Irish, you know, knit jumpers, play music, tell jokes, make whiskey. And he's like, make whiskey. So we decided, okay, I'll make whiskey. So we literally Googled how to make whiskey. None of us had really any knowledge in the industry or anything like that. So we sort of Googled how to make, I can stop, great, anyway. Such fun. Anyway, I'm going to keep telling my story. Yeah, you've given me the thing, so I'm going to get to the end of it, but I am really super happy that she did that. So anyway, she called me, and they said, so anyway, we made whiskey, and so that was kind of interesting about it, that it came from kind of a joke, and we had no basis in the industry, and we just literally went around to all the rich people in Finland and said, if you don't have a whiskey, your country is not a real country. It's like having a team in the Olympics or something. And eventually then we Googled, and we made whiskey. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for listening to me. Antonella, please save me. Okay, bye-bye. My name is Joe Haslam, and everyone should take the Owner Scale-Up program at IE Business School. Fantastic. Touched for the whole day, which is like, I don't know who decided that. I should eat one out of sympathy. Okay, so we're making progress, and now we have Mariano from Minsat, who's going to announce a special prize for FinTech. So Mariano, do you want to come on stage? And yeah, just go ahead, speak into the microphone, and say what you want to say.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to say in the name of Minsat, congratulations to everyone. We've seen some great ideas. We think everything we have, you guys have presented, it's really applicable. It creates innovation in different industries. But as it just has been mentioned, we are here to present a special prize to one of the fintech ideas we have been seeing a few moments ago and during the whole morning. We have had some directors, some partners of the firm evaluating those ideas. And considering what we think it's applicable to the Mexican market, to what we can also contribute to the idea, we are going to deliver this prize. What does the prize consist of? The prize consists of some advisory and consulting hours that we are going to work together with the winner. What we're going to do with these hours depends on who the winner is, right? So, and what their specific needs are there are. So it can be some commercial help we can provide, some technical, some other solutions we can, strategic solutions we can incorporate to the solution you guys have. So in this matter, we want to congratulate BDO for their idea. So can we give an applause to the? I don't know where they are. Felicidades. Thank you very much. So, well, first of all, congratulations. And the organization will get in touch with you to collaborate together and bring your idea to a different level. So, once again, congratulations. Thank you.
Micro, tango mi. Okay, I have all the information here. Okay, here we go. This is super interesting. Okay, so I have the ganadores. So all of these people now need to go to the main stage at 5:20 to pitch to be the winners. Okay, so these are, if you are all of these people, you are free to shout out and say yes, as if your life has changed. Okay, so the first one is Tink referral as a server. Is Alexander here? No, he's not. Okay, very good. Okay, very good. The second one is Be Wanted. It's Ignacio. Yeah. Super modest Ignacio. Disidata. Disidata is, no, he's not here. Someone cheer. Oh, yeah. Oh, is that you? Is it? I can't believe that. Wow, anyway, well done. Brilliant. Santa Box, Juan from Colombia. Yay, brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Jedu, that's is Sergio, the Sergio from Jedu. Jedu, no. Okay, someone find Sergio and tell him he's got good news. BDO, BDEO, Bedoa. Okay, who's that? Brilliant. That was an afternoon. And finally, the last company stretching it out to maximum drama, making everyone really nervous and seeing if the answer is Polar Ooh. Polar Ooh. Okay. So, as they say, all of you winners, but actually all of you are not winners. These guys are winners. So, fantastic. So, Think, Be Wanted, DC Data, Sign Up Box, Jedu, Trato, Video, Polaru. You have to be at the main stage by 5:20 to get ready to pitch at 5:40 for the fantastic prizes that we're going to win. Okay, well done to everyone, and well done to the backstage team as well, who were all absolutely brilliant. Okay. So... Muy bien. Muchos de la mañana, ¿no? Okay. Nada. Okay. Can I get power? Muy bien. Okay, we have 2 more events here, guys. This is all very fun. So we're going to have one pitch of one company who's not officially in the competition, but asked to pitch. So we're going to have that in 1 second. And then we're actually going to have a panel featuring me and 4 other people. So some of which I'm seeing. So there is fun and games to stay around for. So basically the pitch will be on in the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to have a panel with Christina and it's going to be, we're going to basically tell jokes, okay? We're going to completely ignore all this startup talk, and we're just going to tell jokes for like half an hour, okay? So it's going to be easily the best panel of the day. So hang around for that. Okay, so la macorista, Alejandra, you're okay? Lista? Okay, so you're Alejandra, yeah? Okay, fantastic. Okay, so 3 minutes. Speak into your microphone. Is your microphone working? Okay. Yeah, that one didn't really work properly. So that looks familiar. You got the T-shirt, you got
Yes.
the pink, you got the everything.
Yes.
Okay, so really, and your microphone? Speak microphone?
Hello?
Is it working? Okay, absolutely. Wow, you got like merchandise and
Yes,
everything.
of
It's all
course.
absolutely brilliant. Okay, everyone, can I ask again for your attention for Alejandra, because it's like never an easy thing to do, and it's something that's really worthwhile for her. So can we have 3 minutes of attention, please, for Alejandra? Yay!
Thank
Come
you.
on. No. We're going to do that again. Okay. Big speech saying all this important thing. Can we have your attention in 3 minutes and your love and support, please, for Alejandra? Yay! Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. So my name is Alejandra, and I'm co-founder of La Manicurista. So today, I want to share with you 2 quick stories. This is Maria. Her day starts at 5 a.m. in the morning, the only time of the day there is silent at her home. But she has a lot of things to do. She has to prepare for her quarterly meeting. She has to prepare lunch for her kids. She has to prepare her breakfast, and she's overwhelmed. And as a Latin woman, she wants to feel and look beautiful. She has dinner with her friends at 7, and tell me, at what time, Maria, will she be able to go to the beauty salon and, of course, feel beautiful? She has no time, of course. So this is Gloria. Gloria is a beauty professional that has been going to the beauty salon for the 5 past years. Her routine starts at 4 a.m. in the morning because she has to cross the entire city to go to the beauty salon. She gets there to the beauty salon, and her routine starts with a cup of coffee, a marathon ending of telenovelas, and talking to the other beauty professionals while waiting for the 1 or 2 customers to arrive. So she's tired over there at the beauty salon. She goes home with only 50% commission. That may be only $7 or $10 in her pocket. And every day she's asking herself, how can I improve my income? And how can I not be wasting my time waiting at the beauty salon for the customers? So this is how we were born. La Manicurista. So we connect Gloria and Maria to provide on-demand beauty services, anytime, anywhere. Now, we take the beauty salon to Maria's house and not the other way around. And what do we give Gloria? We give her more commission, 70% commission, and she can actually increase her income by 170%. Now she has time to spend with her kids, and she can be an entrepreneur, as this has been her dream all her life. So you might be asking yourself, how long afar are we? Well, we started 2 years ago, and last month, in November, we sold $55,000 US, and when compared to last year, we've grown 4.6x when compared to November last year. So how have we been doing in orders? 4,825 orders on November, and we have 303 beauty professionals in Cali, Bogota, and Medellin. And we have increased our average order value by 20%. So you might be asking yourself, how have we achieved this? Of course, with an excellent, talented group of programmers, 5 talented programmers, and my co-founder who manages the entire operations team, and myself, I am in charge of demand generation and the financial side. So we started with a team of 5 manicurists in our hometown in Cali, and now we are proud to say we are more than 300 beauty professionals in Colombia. The beauty professionals are the heart and blood of our company. We want to expand to additional markets. Mexico is definitely on our target, so we're going to be opening a new round in January next year. So if you're interested in talking to me, I'll be in the pink shirt and pink nails. Thank you very much.
That's it. So, okay, you need to turn that off. Okay, so now we're going to have the final panel of the day. So if we could get everyone out, and we'll go ahead with it. So that's all of, okay, let's get everyone out. I'm going to, you can take any seat you want, whatever you want. I'm moderating this. This is Roger, who lives in Silicon Valley, and this is Shlomi, all the way from Israel. Tell lovely stories about... Shlomi's got some great stories about ways I nearly made all the right decisions and was very successful. So it's like, we'll get some of those stories out of you. Christine, not Christina aquí, otra Christina. Okay, she's being mic'd up. And, okay, and also Jesus is being mic'd up. Okay, so yeah, nobody's eaten them during the day, like, and they were kind of okay. Do people in Mexico call you Christina or Christine or more? All right.
Christina,
okay.
Chris.
Okay, perfect.
All of the above.
No, I think that's kind of cool, you know. So we're just waiting now for Jesus to come out, who replaces Ignacio, and he's the guy in the suit and tie, so he's the formal guy. So as I say, we're going to go, I think, for 30 minutes. So we will finish exactly at 5:30. So that gives you time to get over to the arena stage to see the final. So everyone can stay here. Oh yeah, here's the guy. So you won. Yeah, you've got to go over to the stage. Yeah. So get your ass over to the stage and be here in future when you're supposed to be here. So good stuff. Enhorabuena. So that's pretty cool. Oh, say, Jesus todo bien. Okay, we do a quick mic test. So, mic,
yes.
Working?
Hello, is it working?
And working?
Working.
No, I don't think it's working.
I think it is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, show me.
Walking.
Well, there you go. Right first time, and finally Roger.
Funciona?
Okay, funciona muy bien. Okay. So, okay, maybe you might start off by introducing yourself. I'll just introduce me, because you mightn't have heard of me. I'm Joe Haslam. I'm a professor at the IE Business School in Madrid, originally from Ireland, and I've lived in Madrid for 15 years, and my speciality is how to scale companies. I have a lovely speech that I give about how to scale companies, sometimes when I'm asked, and I'm director of the Owner Scale-Up program. Jesus, can you introduce yourself?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jesus Sepulveda. I'm the Technical and Legal Services Director for Clark Modet and Company in Mexico. And what we are is an intellectual property company. We're pretty much like a law firm, but we provide consulting and advisory.
Keep it down over there, guys. Good stuff.
On a number of intellectual property matters throughout the whole innovation cycle. And yes, that's pretty much what we do.
Okay, great. Okay, Christine?
Hi, I'm Christine Chang. I'm the Program Director of Startup Bootcamp Scale FinTech Mexico City, which is an initiative of Finovista. What we do actually is work with pre-Series A startups to help them grow exponentially and scale their business in Latin America. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and also an alum of IE Business School.
Okay. Funny story, I lived in Dallas for a while. There you go. We never even mentioned that yesterday. Yep. Okay, Shlomi, what have you got to tell us?
Hi, I'm Shlomi Goren. I'm from the land of the Startup Nation. I have a consulting company which mentors startups in early stages. They were able to raise about $150 million just in the last 3 years. I'm an entrepreneur myself. Lately, I've been raising to a couple of companies I'm a partner with. I teach business in local schools, and I'm here to share experience.
Okay. Finally, Roger, what have you got for us?
My name is Roger Casals. I'm from Barcelona. I'm an entrepreneur. I built several companies. I've been fortunate enough to sell a few of them. And I've been basically working in the business intelligence world, security world, and now e-commerce world. So I've been shifting paths.
Sounds very impressive. You navigate through worlds. You know, sounds like
I'll use that.
I'm Roger, and I navigate through worlds.
I'll use that.
Magnificent. Okay, so the topic of the panel is key advice when building companies from scratch. So scratch that. So maybe we might start with Jesus. So you know what I guess the question I always ask people is this idea of what do most people think is the right thing to do, which you find is the wrong thing to do. And if you don't ask that that question, you can just talk to us about IP in general.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much the case with IP. It's something that is constantly overlooked. Of course, when you start a new business or you try to develop an idea, you want to build on a strong foundation, and this includes, of course, all the intellectual property factors. As I said, it's one of the most overlooked factors whenever creating a business. We tend to think, or anyone developing an idea tends to think that it's something that maybe deal with at a later stage, but it is actually not the case.
But do you have some real stories of people who literally didn't do the IP work, and then someone just came in, stole it all, and they had nothing?
Yes, there's a lot of
examples. Tell those stories. Those are interesting stories. Like, there always has to be like a good guy, a bad guy, you know, a guy with a mask and a sword and you know, that kind of stuff.
Well,
So
it goes anywhere in all the IP process. I mean, from trademarks, we've seen cases where someone starts promoting a service or a product where they're using a trademark, and a couple of years later they try to protect their trademark, and then they realize that such trademark is actually non-protectable. For example, you may have a great idea for a pizza restaurant,
Yeah.
and you came up with a great name, the pizza place.
Yeah.
You are never going to get the trademark.
Okay.
So it's something you should invest on. You should check that actually what you're creating is protectable, so you don't end up changing your name a couple of years later and investing
We're
more.
gonna get your best story. You know what's that story you tell at like 1 o'clock in the morning when you're had a few wine about like your customers, and yeah, that camera isn't really working, and but
It's off now.
Okay, every IP lawyer has a story about somebody who's literally like, you know, their business was just stolen under them, and they turned in and said, I have a sudden new interest in IP, in intellectual property, and it's too late, you know. So we're going to come back to you, and you're going to tell us a really cracking story about like one of those things. Okay, Christine, similar kind of a question, you know. I mean, first of all, what are when people come to talk to you, kind of what is the first thing they say? Like, how do they think you can help them? And then second, what do you correct them and say, actually, the biggest thing you need to worry about is X?
Oh, so many things.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have 24 minutes and 13 seconds. Yeah.
So since we work with startups in the scale phase, that can mean so many different things, right? Because some people are looking to scale their company into different countries. Some people are looking to scale into different products. So really, we try to listen first and understand what they're trying to achieve and why. When it comes to growth, when it comes to fundraising, you really need to have clear your motivations on why you're doing that before you proceed, because otherwise you're going to end up losing focus, and you're going to end up basically maybe not achieving the right result, or it taking much longer than you expected for it to take. And something that we always remind the entrepreneurs, even though it sounds really, really basic, is to stay focused. Especially when you're at the scale stage, when you're going into different countries, there's a lot of different complications that you're not expecting. It could be a different language, it could be a different working culture, it could be different employment law. And so you really need to stay focused all the time, and it sounds really basic, but that is something that we continually do and work with the startups who come into our program. Something really basic, for example, or a way to put that into practice is we actually meditate with our entrepreneurs. So we take
You
time.
meditate?
We do. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So that's series 6 of Silicon Valley is the meditation episode.
We do it with, you know,
a guru,
pre-Series A startups who come to
wow.
our program. So it's actually a 6-month program. It's semi-presential in Mexico. So they come to Mexico for 1 intensive week per month. And it's a really, really crazy week. But we do take time. We try to take time every single day to do at least 1 to 5 minutes meditation. And that's one way that you can start to get your focus clear.
Yeah, no, you know, all of the things I used to mock and tease in my 20s, I now do all of them, basically. I used to
If
laugh.
you talk to anyone in Silicon Valley, there's a podcast that I love. It's by Reid Hoffman, one of the founders of LinkedIn. It's called Masters of Scale. And surprisingly, they talk about a lot of soft things. They talk a lot of sort of daily habits that you can work on as an entrepreneur to be more effective than the rest.
Yeah, he also, it's funny, and one of the things, he actually has more women entrepreneurs than men, which is a rather interesting thing. I mean, it was probably a good decision, but very often women are better able to explain their success than men, you know? Well, that's what he says. I asked him on Twitter, I said, this is great, I know you've more, although he, of course, he had Elizabeth from Theranos as well, but, you know,
that's a different story.
That perhaps is a different story, but anyway.
There's an exception to every rule.
Yes, indeed. So the other thing you're saying about focus is the thing about focus, and you're absolutely right, but of course you can only focus when you simplify something, because it's impossible to focus on something that's broad. You know, like how can you focus on the Sahara Desert? You know, you can't. You know, so that's the point, is that you have to simplify your business so that you can focus on it, and that, in my experience, is the step that most people don't take. They are not prepared to like cut away all the stuff and just totally focus, because that gives you a chance to either like, you know, exponentially grow by the power law or to not succeed.
Yep.
But ultimately it's the only thing that gives you a chance. So you have to do it. So, you know, that's the thing. Okay, Shlomi, same kind of question for you. I mean, what was sort of what people, when people talk to you, what did they talk to you? And then what do you correct them by saying, actually, that's not the thing you should be doing?
The most common mistake or non-knowledge I see with new entrepreneurs is the valuation issue. It's either they think their company is worth a lot and they can ask for it a lot of money,
Yeah.
and then a wake-up call, you are worth nothing, you don't
Yeah.
have a product yet, you don't have customers yet, you're worth nothing.
Yeah.
So how do you ask for $1 million? So you have to play the game of benchmarks, and the valuation at the beginning is very, very different than valuation of a company that runs for 5 years. It's a different ballgame. It's very emotional valuation, and the fact that you were able to convince somebody that your company, that you need, with your business plan, you're convinced you need $1 million, you use a benchmark of 25, 30, 35%, you're okay. If you convince him emotionally, there you go, you have a valuation. The other mistake I see with valuation is that new entrepreneurs want to keep the percentages, the equity to themselves.
Yeah.
They don't understand the game is not how much percentages you have, is how much your company worth.
Yeah.
It's better to have less percentages with a high value company than having all your percentages and keep looking for money all your life.
Yeah. I mean, the best line I heard about valuation. So those of you that are taking out your pen and writing things, there was once upon a time in the world where people used to like have pens and books and used to write stuff down. You see it in old movies. There you go. How about that? The old perfecto. So, but anyway, one of the tweetable moments is that there's a great phrase which is to say like, you can set the valuation if I set the terms. And that's kind of one of those things that you really understand, because a lot of times, like you have this value. So like if all of these things happen, eventually the whole thing unwinds forward to like a massive valuation. But the reality is that if most of those things don't happen, it rewinds down to a very small valuation. I mean, more and more because of all these clever lawyers, it's actually hard to actually say what a valuation is, any more than it's like when a footballer is purchased these days, like, because you have all these kind of, like, you have the agent's fee and the club fee and the win bonuses and all this kind of stuff, So like, it's not becoming a kind of a sum of money anymore. It's becoming a question of terms. So yeah, so the valuation is a question of, you can have a certain valuation, but the terms could basically mean that to be effectively meaningless. But yeah, and too high valuation on your first round will make you uninvestable in your second, right? That should be like, tattooed on the laptop of every entrepreneur. Okay, so Roger, you've been around this cycle a couple of times. What advice do you have for people, and what do people kind of get wrong?
Okay, I thought that you were going to ask.
No, but you ignore my question.
No,
right?
I know.
And just
but
say
I was
the
preparing.
Thing, say the thing, exactly.
I was preparing
This is
for that.
what I try to tell people. Ignore the question and say what you want to say.
So, how many of you are entrepreneurs actually here? How many are startup founders?
There you
go. Okay. Don't come to me for advice, okay? Please.
Roger, you're on a panel, so,
Oh, oops.
Yeah, okay.
Let me explain why. Selling a company is the most exciting thing you can do with your pants on, okay? So go for it.
Oh, come on, you're not laughing. That's the oldest joke in the way.
But you can... So you should go for it. Because anyone actually can be an entrepreneur. Anyone. Because being an entrepreneur is not a skill. It's a mindset. And you have to think about yourself if you have that mindset or not. Because the only skill, if you ask me what's the skill that I should have, is resilience. So being able to eat shit every morning, 9 a.m., and keep going through the day, because this is what will happen. Those guys that say, hey, being an entrepreneur is just for fun, I haven't met one yet. Yeah. Okay, maybe I have an exception here, but I haven't. Because one of the things that I experienced in my life, every single company that I saw, 70% of the reason was out of luck. I was a lucky guy. So you have to have some luck to be successful, period, right? A lot of it, actually. So you have to work hard, etc. But many people work hard. That doesn't really matter, right? You need that spark, that luck. And last thing that I wanted to say is, because I've been pitched by many companies, and I've seen many companies that create products that solve problems that nobody wants being solved, right? So it seems a stupid thing, but think twice. Is my company producing a product that actually is worth being solved? Is producing a product or solving a problem that is worth being solved?
Yeah, my favorite story about that was, and this really happened, although if it didn't happen, it actually doesn't make any difference. But let's say it did happen because it did happen. But we kind of built this e-procurement system once, and I walked in, and it spent ages to do it, and I walked into someone and say, wow, you know, I'm Joe, and we've just built this new system for you, and what used to take you a week, you can now do in an hour, you know? And I wasn't expecting hugs and flowers and kisses and everything, but I was expecting, gee, thanks, you know? And she just looked at me and said, well, what do I do for the rest of the week, you know? In other words, we had optimized and solved a problem that effectively didn't need to be done. Her week was great. She got to walk around the different buildings and, you know, chat with people and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And now she just, like, you know, inputs it and beep, 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 and it's all done, you know? And then literally nothing else to do. So, yeah, I mean, you still see that. Silicon Valley is full of, like, you know, beautifully engineered products that nobody actually needed. Sometimes they're called small, rare problems. I mean, you have to have... The growth hacker stuff is very interesting in the sense of, unless you can provoke an emotional reaction in people, that now that I know this thing exists, all other solutions are inferior.
I have a question for you. What problem Facebook solve?
Genocide in Burma? You weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
You know, there were all these people who wanted to kill other people, and they couldn't communicate to other people that, you know, but Facebook connected them all. It was wonderful. But the other, I mean, I guess the joke about Facebook, well, where do I start about Facebook? But I mean, what they ended up doing was killing newspapers, basically. And you know, the irony of it is that they use they use the thing that they're killing to be successful, you know? But I guess Facebook did solve a kind of a problem of, well, connecting people and stuff like that. But what problem do you think it solves?
None.
No problem.
No, I think that Facebook is not actually solving a problem. So I'm just saying this to see that you don't have to ask me for advice, okay? Because I said that Facebook was going to fail when it was launched.
Yeah.
So I think actually they should not take your advice about thinking that starting a business is just pure luck or being able to sell your business is pure luck, because we actually help startups break that down. So he's not here, so I can talk about him openly.
Okay.
He was here, one of the entrepreneurs who just graduated from our program in October. And he came into the program. It's a fintech program. So he says, you know, with one bank, we'll be profitable. I don't need to raise money. With one bank, we're profitable.
Right.
Okay, you can keep saying that. And then 1 year from now, you'll be hungry. And you'll still be saying that, right? Because to close a bank and also implement a deal with a bank is really hard and takes a really long time.
Yeah.
And it's not for sure that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So what did we do? We did many sessions with him. We did an experiment design session to say, okay, what are the different sources that you have for new revenue? And we broke it down and we said, what's your current sales cycle? So how long does it take to close a bank or a university? Eons. What are other customers that you can actually get to with a shorter close cycle? So we talked about another, I won't divulge everything, but we found another client base, and he's closing deals now every 2 weeks.
Right.
Every 2 weeks. And he's grown his number of monthly loans originated by 4.5 times in the course of time that he was in our program. So I think it's not to do only with luck. I think that you also have to think creatively. You have to not have blinders on of your product is awesome and you have this specific client, really sexy banks that you want to work with.
But
well, they're not really sexy, but
sell a company.
Yeah, but the thing, I mean, the quote on that one, I mean, there are two quotes. The first one is the Gary Player golf quote about, like, the more I practice, the luckier I get, right?
Yep.
So that's true. But you know, like look is, you know, I've started 8 businesses, and I, you know, I see all this kind of stuff that, you know, I mean, there's a famous story about Netflix, you know, when they were taking on Blockbuster, and it was like, we're going to set up a special team to kind of fight off the onslaught of Blockbuster. So they came up with like 3 initiatives to defend themselves against Blockbuster. None of them worked. But, you know, Blockbuster were even worse. So that's how Netflix kind of survived. So that was basically just luck, you know. So then there's a whole pile of, like, you know, there's a story about Angry Birds. There was a story about, like, a ski racer broke her leg. And, you know, she was, like, you know, on live TV. And it's like, oh, what are you going to do now? You're going to have to be in bed. And she's like, I'm just going to play Angry Birds. And it was, like, on live TV. And they had made, like, 48 games, none of whom, and suddenly, like, they had, like, the top ski, you know. And that was luck. She wasn't paid to do it, anything like that. But, of course, you have to capitalize on your luck. You were going to say that?
No. You're totally right, both of you. So creating a company is not out of luck. It's out of a lot of sweat, okay?
Yeah.
But being able to succeed, what we call success, right? So a big explosion in growth or selling the company or something like that, most of the time has a big percentage of luck.
Yeah, I mean, Edison said as well, I think, or something like, you know, when, you know, it's good when lightning strikes that you're in the lab, you know. Yes. In other words, like, there is a point about that. You have to capitalize on your opportunity. Okay, have you got any IP disaster stories for me, or you know?
Well, yes. For example, I recently had a case with a steel company, in the steel industry that used to produce like barbed wire and some kind of stuff made out of steel.
Yeah.
And recently they had a huge problem because they never invested in IP, and they failed to identify that they were making processes and things that were maybe subject to a patent or at least a trade secret. And they also failed to provide for clauses in their employment contracts. So it is a very common story in Mexico regarding contracts, and that happened with that company. Some employees left the company, decided to start their own company, stole, to say it somehow, but they didn't steal anything.
And
actually,
what could you have done? Like, what if they had come to you earlier? What could you have done?
In Mexico, for example, for trade secret protection, you need to take necessary steps. So to identify which people is going to be making which part of the process, and also you may send a specialist to identify what part is subject to a patent, and then you take the necessary measures to avoid people knowing the process and then taking the process to another company where they are now one of their main competitors.
Okay, Shlomi, I'm going to give you some airtime, you know, by the so okay, I love asking us, like, who do you not like in this world? Like, who do you think is, like, everyone goes on about him that he's wonderful, and you actually think he's not that, or she is not that wonderful?
I don't like startup bubbles. I don't like them. As customers, I like them very much.
Everyone does.
As an analyst, I break my head and I go like, no way there was that, and no way there was that. Every second unicorn we're seeing, it's a bubble.
Yeah.
If we take example of, there are companies today that they are worth $4 billion to $20 billion, and they keep losing $100 million every year, and their worth is coming up.
Yeah.
Just because the people are coming and investing, and people are investing more and more and more, and half of those companies are not going to break even or not going to make their worth. Yeah. But you have to understand, as entrepreneurs, it's part of a game. It's a dance. You have to understand. It's a tango with the investors. I'm not saying lie, but I say you do have to have a small little bit of a bubble for yourself.
Be economic with the truth. Isn't that what people say? No, I tell you, the thing that surprised me, and I've started 8 companies, and I used to go in with this kind of, you know, I've started all these companies, and I'm a professor and all this, I know kind of what I'm doing, and, you know, here's the plan, and give me the money. And they were like, no, I want to see you come in like an 18-year-old kid, and you want to see you perform. Like, and eventually I had to understand that that's really what you had to do. Like, did they insist that you do all that stuff, you know? Even though I knew it was like, you know, no plan survives contact with the enemy, you know, this idea of these cash flow projections were all nonsense, but they still made me do them, you know? And I thought that was like, okay, well, I guess you have to accept that. but you're not going to give us a name. Like, you're not going to say Elon
No,
Musk is a
not gonna give you a
chancellor, or
name, no.
come on, give us a name. Give us a name. You
Uh,
know? Tell me someone
Take
who's like,
WeWork, for example. Okay?
there you go. Perfect. Now we're talking. Okay.
Does
come on.
anybody think that WeWork really worth something like $20 billion?
Okay.
When WeWork started, that's a great example. When WeWork started, he had a great competitor, Regus. Regus was above WeWork at every level. It had higher renting rates, it had more space, it had more of everything. But WeWork, for some reason, was worth twice as much. Why? Because WeWork said technology, technology, technology. But it's only a real estate business.
Yeah.
It's a real estate business with a suit of technology. Half of the startups here are not really startups, are businesses. You're companies with a business. You call yourself a startup because, okay, this is the trend now. We call every new company a startup. It's easier to raise money for a startup. So if you take a big monster of real estate and you call it a startup, you can actually raise a lot of money. And I think it's a great example. The fact of the matter now, it's passing Regus. It still doesn't mean that it's, the bubble is getting bigger. The bubble is getting bigger. I've heard somewhere above 20 billions. And there are a lot of examples like that. Saying to you, giving advice to you is you have to play chess with investors. You have to have a big vision eventually. And you have to have your own small bubble. Because otherwise, you are not sexy enough. Israel is a small country. Usually, if a startup, the most common mistake is to start a pilot in Israel and say, that's it, it's finished, we can raise a lot of money. A lot of investors from other countries, we say in Hebrew, don't even count Israel. What do you mean the pilot was successful in Israel? Israel is nothing for me. Show me how you sell to 50,000 Americans. Then I'll invest. Okay. So there are a lot of great companies which are dominating the market in Israel. They can't get a raise of even $1 million outside of Israel. So always think ahead. Have your own little bubble. It's okay to exaggerate. It's a part of the game.
Very much
and,
so. Okay. So we'll have final words from everyone, starting with Roger. What's your take? You have 1 minute to say the most interesting thing you can.
One thing that the CEO of MySQL said to me once, be the number one in your market. And if you cannot be the number one in that market, shrink the market, because you cannot increase.
Redefine the market. Yeah. That's a classic business school trick. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Congratulations. Okay, I'll come back to Shlomi last. Okay, Jesus, what's your final thought? What's the big piece of advice you want to leave with everyone?
I would say don't be the proud parent of the ugly baby. I don't know if you heard about the ugly baby.
Okay. Don't be the proud parent of
the ugly baby. The ugly baby syndrome, where
I have to think about that. Okay.
Where you tend to look at your creation or your company.
Oh yeah, I get it now.
As a beautiful thing, and you never doubt of what you're doing.
Becoming obsessed with your idea.
And from the IP perspective, you may be developing on someone else's idea, and that someone else is gonna come and sue you for patent infringement, and it's gonna end your business. So that's my final word.
Don't be the proud. Okay, Christina, what was a piece of advice you have for everyone?
Okay. So more than advice, I guess I'd take the opportunity to invite any of the startups in the room who are focusing on fintech to apply for our program. We currently have applications open until next Monday. And so you can achieve things like triple-digit growth. The 4 startups who went through our first generation, all 4 of them experienced triple-digit growth. They also launched into new countries. So if you're looking for exponential growth and to really grow your business, come talk to us.
Okay. Can I ask you, like, when you meet an entrepreneur for the first time, you know, there's this thing like, do you know straight away, or do you think, have there been people who you've met the first time you've met them, you weren't that impressed by them, but over time you've kind of got to understand?
Yeah, so I think that when you work with early stage startups, you really never know.
Yeah.
So 2 of the guys who just went through the program, and again, they're not here, so I can talk about them. Both of them, we said their main issue is lack of focus. And now, if you talk to them, I mean, they're really skyrocketing. They're so focused, and it's so fun to talk to them. Every time I talk to them, they're like, I'm focusing on this, on this, on this. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool that you guys really have gotten it. But that's because they've seen the results.
Yeah. And you know, there's a big thing about momentum. You know, I used to work for Mark Cuban, who you might know from Shark Tank, and he has this big thing that like sales cures everything. Once you start to get momentum, the other things don't seem to be a problem. And then when you don't have momentum or you don't have sales, you start fighting with your co-founder, and you start just kind of, so that's the kind of thing that you get on. The important thing is to develop is momentum. You see it in sports as well, and you see it in hot hands in basketball and stuff like that. You just start to believe it, and you don't know where it comes from, but it's a super important thing to try and get. The other thing about entrepreneurs is that there have been loads and loads of research about entrepreneurs, and all of it is inconclusive. You can't assemble one in a lab, and some of it is down to what Roger was saying about being lucky. So you're like, if an entrepreneur is lucky, you can't then say that his or her characteristics led to their success. But the one thing that does seem to high correlations is the ability to persuade people to do things. There seems to be that as being a feature, that if you're good, you must have someone on your team who can persuade people. And that's everything from join my startup to don't kill me, or whatever. That is a very useful kind of a thing to have. But of course, there are loads of cases where no one had that, and they were still just kind of right place, right time.
Yeah, going back to unicorns, I know we're finishing up, but going back to unicorns, I would be willing to bet that every founder of a unicorn company has that ability to persuade people to see their entire vision.
Yeah,
that's how they raise that money.
Or to not see, to be literally standing in
to
a
not
pile,
see that we
to
work
be
as a
standing
real
in a
estate
pile
company.
of shit and be able to tell people, I'm not standing in a pile of shit. That's ridiculous. That's the characteristic. So it falls then to final word to my great friend Shlomi to say something magnificently inspiring and wonderful, to leave all of these people to depart the hall after the end of the day. What is it?
I can only say good luck, and I emphasize the luck. I'm with him on that. Good luck.
Good luck,
That's
and
it.
answer email, something like that. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you to Jesus, thank you to Christina, thank you to Shlomi, and thank you to Roger. So I'm now going to resume my MC thing and say, that's it. So everyone is over. Everyone go over to the arena stage to see all the startups present, and you'll learn a whole pile of interesting stuff by doing that. So everyone should do that, okay? Thank you very much, guys. Okay. Now, someone should eat that. Okay. I'm gonna take that.
The key